Hey, Fenn, you there?
Yo.
Oops. Hey, Fenn, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was just watching Hayes kill people in Thid.
Yeah, I was watching earlier too.
All right, I'll turn his stream off so I'm not distracted. I'm ready to go.
Okay. Okay. I was just making sure the volumes were right. My channel sounded okay.
Check 1 2 1 2. Check check. Level
Right?
one.
Holy crap. Okay.
I used to work audio as part of like a radio station at my college campus. So we did a whole lot of sound testing.
Oh, yeah. I played in bands, so it was always checked.
Oh hell yeah! What'd you play?
Um, Depends on the band. Um,
Ooh,
the the biggest band I was in, we headlined a couple shows and we had a show in Canada that we went to play to. I played guitar. And then
oh that's awesome.
other little bands around. We had a band here in Chippewa, near Wisconsin Dells that I played in, and I played bass. And then I took over. Um, I hadn't played for a while. We did a 3 hour show,
Oh damn.
and I woke up the next day, and my whole left hand was like 4 sizes bigger than it normally is. Um,
Holy shit.
and I think after like 3 weeks, it finally started like being able to move, and I told the band like I couldn't do it anymore. Not to that length of
Oh my
time.
god.
And like
Yeah,
before
3 hour
shows,
sets very long.
I would do different exercises and different things for my hand because I knew I've been playing guitar since I was like 16. I'm pretty sure I have like 7 different versions of carpal tunnel. Um, good, good when you play that long. Um,
Oh yeah.
so then I'm like, but I still want to play. So I was talking to my wife, and I was like, I still want to play, but I don't know what I should play. And she's like, well, did you ever play drums? And I'm like, yeah, I've played drums. And she's like, well, let's get a drum set. So I got some cheapo drum set and started playing that. And then, yeah, so I have played drums in different bands, but I haven't played in a long time. So I just kind of do whatever. I'll play guitar for a little bit, but it's definitely not, 3 hours on a show.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not. That's awesome. Yeah, I played French horn for like 10 years back in school and then like took 5 years off of playing anything and now I've been learning guitar for the past like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a
And
lot of
like,
fun.
I play for an hour, no problem, but 3 hours, and then we'd have like, I think 5 sets. So after each
Wow.
set, we'd like go walk around or go in the back, and I'd go over and after the second hour, I went over to my wife and I'm like, "Can you massage my hand?" I'm like, "I can't feel it." Like, luckily, I have muscle memory, so I just knew
Yeah.
where to go. And then the last song we played was "Sweet Child of Mine" by Guns N' Roses,
Oh my
and
lord.
I don't know if you've ever listened to the bass line in that song, but it's the bass player for Guns N' Roses is really good at adding a whole lot of. It's not just found in the root notes. He's like all over the place. I was like, maybe we just got to do a different song at the end.
Yeah, maybe don't finish on that one.
The hardest for
Yeah.
everybody. Guns N' Roses is not an easy band to cover.
Oh my god, your poor hand. I'm just
Yeah,
imagining doing that after a 3 hour set.
yeah.
My
And then
hand
we're
is
like,
like screaming.
oh, yeah, let's do an encore. And we did, I don't even remember what songs it was, but I know it was Sweet Child of Mine and one other one. It was like our hardest songs. I'm like, I hate you all. My hand already.
Freebird.
Yeah, right. No free bird. Okay. I'm just gonna give this a couple minutes, see if anyone jumps in.
Sweet, sounds good.
Because I'm sure if they don't, there will definitely be a replay. Um, it's 3:01, so in a couple minutes, I'll just gonna introduce yourself. Obviously, not too many people know. I don't know if many people know your voice. Um,
I don't
who
think
you
so.
are,
I
what you
don't
do.
really get on voice comms too much. So,
Um,
but yeah, do you want me to introduce now?
yeah, just
Wait.
kind
Okay.
of.
Yeah. So my name is Fenn. I'm the, I would say, lead developer or one of the lead developers of the Atlas Free Shard. I joined the team with them back in, want to say July, maybe August, and I've been working ever since, just trying to fix up the server and like refactor everything to get it performant. I've been doing software development professionally for like 5 to 6 years now. I've worked on like banking and medical software stuff that I can't talk too much more about, but work mostly in Java and C Sharp there, and now I'm working in C Sharp and Atlas. I guess what else? I've played Dark Age since actual 1.65 for sure. I joined during Shrouded Isles expansion way back when I was in like middle school because my friend who lived next door was playing it. No, he was like, check out this cool game. And I think I made a berserker actually and was like, oh, this is awesome. Just killing like wee wolves outside of, Fort Atla or whatever. And was hooked ever since.
You were how old when you started playing?
Oh God. So it was what in like 2003 ish. So I must have been 14.
Well, thanks for making me feel real freaking old.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think I'm among the younger parts of the Dark Age player base, which is not that young still at 33, 2, whatever I am.
Right.
We're all turning into old men now.
Yeah, I was in my 20s when it came out. So,
Oh,
and
nice.
then I remember when we were playing, I played on the Merlin server.
Dude, me
Um,
too. Al Merlin.
yeah, I was on mid and
Oh, boo.
Shadowblade, and I remember, well, I was on L for a while. I had an infiltrator named Kippo, and my dual partner was Meyerlin, and then we also had Olson, who later changed his name as soon as Mythic let him. Um, but we used to fight. Somebody said the volume's way low. Really? We just tested this earlier. Um, let's go up here. All right, Mikhail, tell me if it's louder. Give it 2 minutes because of my delay. Um, but we used to always fight against um, this duo called Salivial and Even Odds, and they were probably the two best Shadow Blades I've ever seen. And
Yeah, I bet if you're still remembering their name 20
yeah,
years on. Yeah.
I still watch their videos on YouTube just because he was the one who taught me how to swap weapons and
Oh, yeah.
all that fun stuff.
The
Um,
fundamentals.
yeah, and so yeah, I've been playing for God way too long. But those two were the kind of the ones who were really made me want to play a Shadow Blade. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. But the guy who played Silly was, I believe he's when he first started, he was like 8, and me and my buddies are in our 20s, and we're like going to this 8, 9, 10 year old like, how do you play? Let me ask it
Oh,
if it sounds
please,
better.
please, young sage, teach me your wisdom.
Right.
That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I was let's see, I ran around with a cleric buddy called Rendanon, and I think we had a paladin who's I think he was named Fried Chicken or something like that. Yeah, we just had like a 4-man small man that we ran around with. And I barely even did any RVR back then because I was 14 and scared of fighting real people. So it was like all PvE farming with the homies, which is not really the standard Dark Age experience, but it was a great time.
Yeah. Well, I just turned my phone on and got blasted by the volume, so I think I fixed it. It might be a little too loud, but it's not too quiet for sure. Um,
That's good.
yeah, I turned mine up and I'm like, oh great, we'll probably hear ourselves in here in 2 minutes. Okay, I'm just gonna see if he answers again or he just went deaf because I turned up the volume.
His ears are ringing. His
Yeah,
vision's blurry. He's trying to find the keyboard.
right. Turn it down. Okay. I don't. He's good. You're low. Well, you ain't got to hear me. He's the important one. Um. Oh, I I'm running on Discord. Hold on. Let me turn my mic up on Discord. No one wants to hear me talk anyways. All right. All right. I'm just a quiet talker. Yeah, we'll go with that.
I can be kind of a quiet talker too. Feels
Yeah.
weird to like yell into my microphone in my house, but sometimes that's what it needs to pick up.
Yeah. I turned it all up, so I think my both mics should be good.
Okay,
Um.
sweet.
Okay. So I'm gonna go through these questions. If there's any questions that come up in chat, obviously I'll read those. If you can answer them, cool. If you can't, that's fine too. We totally understand. Um, um, this first question, I think it's like a three-parter. I'm not really sure. It wasn't really extended out, but any plans to add a realm timer? We keep seeing players lose out to hop on defend the realm. Um, this, on a way, goes against their effort to prevent X realming and causing attacking realms to possibly fail and be demoralized. That one's written really good.
Yeah, so I mean, in regards to a realm timer, we do currently have the RVR realm timer, which will prevent you from going into any RVR zones. Uh, if you've done any RVR activity on one realm, it'll lock you to that realm in its zones for I think 6 hours is currently what we've got. I assume this question is around adding a PVE realm timer, and I think that's actually not a bad idea because we've seen situations where people will be PVEing on a different realm, hanging out, doing whatever, leveling an alt, and then they'll see a relic raid is coming, and then log to their main realm to go defend it. And I think maybe a 1 or 2 hour lockout for PVE times might be kind of reasonable, just because that's about the time it takes to do a relic raid. So uh, would
Kind of
prevent
like,
people from like logging over just to spot defend.
right. Or run over it and go, hey, they're coming for your relic.
Yeah, that too, absolutely. That said, I don't think we have any. We haven't brought it up in team discussions yet, so it's not like imminent. But I do like the idea of a small PV realm timer.
Any plans to extend shroom cap or any cap per animist?
It's not something we've really talked about internally, although there have been some interesting ideas talked about. I caught you guys on the podcast on Sunday talking about like a scaling damage based on nearby shroom situation, and I think that actually sounds pretty interesting. But it's not something we've really prioritized recently. Once we get to that discussion, I think there's definitely some words to be had, though.
Okay. How are they coming on fixing the keeps losing claim after a crash?
It's something we've looked at a little bit. We've had one developer sort of poke around trying to figure out what is causing that. And unfortunately, from the code side of things, it looks like it should be loading everything correctly, et cetera, et cetera. So there's something going on. We're still trying to figure out what it is, but it's going to take a bit more digging.
Okay. Are you guys planning to add any more PvE content or instant dungeons or anything else in the future?
Yes, with an asterisk, I would say. Currently in the state of Atlas, if there's been a lot of complaints that people are too focused on PVE and not enough on RVR. So our short-term goal has definitely been more to sort of like re-incentivize people doing RVR things. Um, and so adding new PvE content and instance dungeons would sort of run counter to that goal in the short term. However, I will say one of our world builders has been working on his own time getting some sort of instancing working correctly for dungeons and maps and that sort of thing. So it looks like he's had a pretty successful test with that, and we might be playing around with some sort of like high level instance dungeon thing. I wouldn't expect Darkspire like Phoenix had necessarily, but we are sort of toying with endgame PvE stuff.
Okay. All right. So a little bit more stuff coming out. That's cool.
Yeah, a bit longer path on that one though,
Right.
I would say.
We could just. I'm gonna. Okay. Got some questions coming up in chat too. So, but
Okay, yeah.
are you planning to open or to add any more guild cloak emblems and colors, or a combination of each?
I know we played around with it in the beta a little bit. I think we actually discovered a way to get a few more emblems in there. So it's possible. It's something we've toyed with, but there's no one actively working on that at the moment.
Okay. This is a two-parter. I know when will they add teleporters in the SI dungeons? And is there a porter in any of the main keeps, more main portal keeps? Like, um,
Teleport. Oh, I see. Like a teleporter in the epic dungeon itself to teleport back out.
to teleport out, and then instead of waiting for your necklace on the port pad, have somewhere if you just need to port instead of porting to the main town and then porting to the town you want to go to.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, no. So I think the idea of a teleporter in the epic dungeons is a good one. I actually hadn't seen that brought up yet, but I think that'd probably be pretty useful to add to that little entrance lobby area. So I'll pass that one along to the world builders. As far as teleporters in the portal keeps, I think that it's gaining more merit now. In beta we had the portal time set to 45 seconds just for ease of testing because we wanted people to get in there and fight. That 45-second value made its way into the launch because we didn't really go back and address it. But recently we determined that action's a little bit too quick. It's sort of like turning into a never-ending brawl from constant reinforcements with a 45 seconds. So we bumped it up to 2 minutes for that portal keep timer. And this now showing an issue with people unable to port to Camelot or their house or whatever that is also tied to that 2 minutes. So I think breaking it apart and having an actual like teleporter in that zone that can take you to other spots with no cooldown is a good idea, but it would have to be PvE only. And then it gives us some freedom to adjust that portal timer for RVR things more freely if we need to.
Okay. I did get one question um, in the chat. Can we expect our when can we expect RVR outside of E-main that's not relic based?
Oh, I'm actually really glad you asked. I have been working on a revamp of the conquest system for a couple days now. It's going pretty well, and I think it'll be. I mean, hopefully, if all goes well, it'll be the answer to the question of why are there no tasks outside of a main? Because the goal of it is to get some objectives that aren't just battleground size and capturing the keep. Getting some more objectives that small men, 8 men, solos can sort of participate in and around without needing to tackle 100 PvE guards. That'll kill them. So getting a few more objectives for everybody to participate in, and then focusing it into one specific keep region rather than having it be 3 open-ended points in the frontier that gives no real focus. We're sort of reworking it to be targeted around one specific location, and that should hopefully draw people out of a main.
Okay.
There's
Just get
sorry,
out
what
of
was that?
E-main.
Yeah, right. I swear there's other zones. I promise.
You wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, we have like the rotating 10% RP bonus and everything for the realm task, but I think it's just not strong enough of an incentive for people to want to leave a main.
right. Well, and then when the server came out, it was, the XP is going to be slower, the RPs are going to be slower, but then to get people out of E-main, you have to like put it to where people can get a little bit more RPs, but still not where it's going to totally change the outcome of now there's Realm Rank 7 super fast, or there's kind of got to be a happy balance.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like the delicate line that we have to walk, right? Because we've seen, with Phoenix, a lot of people really enjoyed their test system and it was very successful at getting people to go out in RVR. But, the common complaint was that someone could just go in, tag one enemy, and gain like, 1,500 RPs for 2 seconds of work where they didn't even do any RVR. So leads to some RP inflation there. And then, we've seen on Celestius with their events and everything, you know, a very quick ramp as far as the RPs go, which, to be fair, was their goal as they stated. So no detriment to them. But like, we saw people getting Realm Rank 11 in like 2 or 3 months, which is ridiculously fast. So they also did very good at incentivizing people to go RVR. But, it comes back to bite them on the back end when you have those end game fully kitted out players now eating all of your players because they're Realm Rank 11.
Yeah. Yeah, and then not to talk about another server or anything while I'm talking to you, but the first event they had it tweaked so much that I think like the first 5 hours there was someone who had like over 200 million realm points. Like, and they're like, hold on, that went a little too quick. We're
Yeah.
calling it back.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, yeah, I definitely understand that. We had some beta rollouts of the conquest thing where someone got like 15K RPs off of one tick, and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, hang on,
yeah,
pump the
but
brakes."
and then they slowed it down, but the damage was already done. I mean, there was an 8-man who jumped from 0 RPs to 2 million RPs. Like, unless they re-rolled it, the damage was already done on that aspect. Um,
Yeah, and it's a pretty big issue to have because that's sort of like the terminal state of a lot of free shards and sort of Dark Age RVR in general is when you end up with one or a few groups of really high realm rank players that will win the majority of their fights, and you end up with people, casual solos, whatever, rolling up things, wanting to go have fun in RVR and feeling like they're not able to compete because the ceiling has been raised way too much to be competitive now. And so when you introduce really rapid gains to that, you just get to that terminal state a lot faster.
okay, yes, to 100% agree. Um, what is the vision for Atlantis for the next 6 months? I mean, obviously we know there's a couple games coming out. There's a couple things coming out. There's people on my chat that are absolutely Atlas and will never go anywhere else. Some will go try it out just like anyone else. But there's a lot of people that watch me and Macrell and Hazefest and all of us that do this. Not 70%, I'll give it a little different number, are complete Atlas only because they see the vision, they like the vision. Obviously, there's things they want changed. Some people want more things changed than others, but we won't go there. Um, so kind of what's the whole vision of Atlas for the next 6 months?
Yeah, definitely. I would say our vision is I mean, we're really focused on improving what we've got and streamlining the experience to get it to where we really want it to be. There's obviously other servers coming out and they've got very different rule sets and everything. And I think that's actually great because as we've seen the Dark Age free shard community, there's a few key points that cause some huge divisions across people. Old F versus New Frontiers, TOA versus non-TOA, catacombs classes versus non-catacombs classes. Like these are all pretty major dividing points that the community has strong opinions on. And I think having more options is a good thing in a way because, the people who are on Atlas and want New Frontiers and Banshees or whatever, like it's good that they should have a place to play and go enjoy the Dark Age that they like. So that, more Dark Age, the better, is my view. We're really focused on just improving the stability of the server, which I think we've made some huge leaps and bounds on recently.
100%.
Getting through, yeah, it's I was ripping my hair out there for a couple weeks, but it's looking good now.
You probably look like me if you saw the feed. I'm nice and bald. You're probably hatching me after that first week of fun.
Yeah, it was like zombie mode for like a week there. I would just like wake up, do performance improvements, go to bed, wake up, do it again. It was I learned a lot. We'll say that. But to keep it moving, I would say, you know, more of our focus for the next 6 months is getting through the backlog of bugs. Obviously, everybody knows we've got some bugs that need to be fixed. We're working on getting those solved as soon as we can. We actually made some huge progress on the character starting stat bug issue today, so that's pretty cool. And then really just trying to develop our 1.65 Old Frontiers vision to its fullest. You know, I think that's our strength, especially compared to other free shards that are launching in broadsword. If they ever manage to whip something together, I think ours will look very different from that too.
Don't forget
Because we
Camelot
have old.
Unchained.
Yeah, right. Any day now. Any day now. But you know, we have a strength in that no other free shard is using Old Frontiers. Some people don't like that, but I think that is a strength that we can play to. You know, we've got the old RAs as well. We've got you know, like a somewhat strict 1.65 ish vision plus asterisk. um, and as long as we focus on that, that is the thing that makes us different enough to succeed and like draw those people in that want that.
Okay. I do have a comment in chat. You can either just laugh, cry, or continue on. But
Okay.
if you're not watching chat, it says, "Great job fixing left axe."
Thank you.
And I believe, and he says, I believe the issue with the QQs is you didn't write it in crayon.
Is that
Um,
in what? Sorry, you
you
cut out.
didn't write it in crayon to draw it out better. You
Oh,
texted
yeah.
diagrams and pictures. Um,
Yeah. Need more visual aids.
yes, maybe we can have Haze Fest come up with a document for that. Um, so the next couple of questions, small brains need pictures. McCarroll, I ain't reading your stuff no more. I'm gonna get banned. Okay. Um, are you looking at or have a fix for champion debuffs? They said they believe they are debuffing 1 times on buff targets, and it should be like 4 times, or however they want to do the math.
So that is a question I can't really answer without more information. Just knowing what exactly is wrong with the champion debuffs. Do you know? Because I did a little bit of testing with a rumor of champion debuffs being wrong, and this was like a month ago, so maybe things have changed since then. But in my testing, it looked like all their debuffs were debuffing for the full expected values, which was in most cases like just enough to get rid of the potions. So they ended up with like a -6 after debuffs, but that was because they ate through all the potion pluses first. But I mean, do you know exactly what's wrong with it?
No. This question was sent to me. It just said they seem like they're not as powerful debuffs as what they're used to. Um,
Okay, I mean,
but then again, it's
I've heard that before.
1.65. I can barely remember what I had for lunch, so thinking about 20 years ago. Um,
Dude, it's a very real issue. I feel like all my Dark Age knowledge has just melded into one like era non-specific soup. It's like things I remember are not 1.65 accurate. But
right.
um, yeah, if something is wrong with champion debuffs, please make a ticket. Feel free to send it to me. I will take a look. I've looked at it already, and I don't think anything's wrong, but I'm open to being proven wrong on that.
Okay. Jack Jackal 1808 said there's nothing wrong with champ debuffs at the moment.
Hey,
Champs.
that's my man.
Oh, and then he replies with champs want to debuff people until they have 0 stats. Okay.
That's
Um,
true, actually. That's why I play champion.
right. Debuff somebody into the negative. Who needs Malice Axe? Um, okay, so obvious this is definitely a question from Hibernia. Um, and I know it's been addressed a million times since beta. Are you going to let us teleport to keeps? to reduce the run from DL to E main, or make Elven mid land more exciting with events or things to get them away from going to E main.
Yeah, so this sort of goes back to that conquest revamp I was talking about. Teleporting has its issues, especially in Old Frontiers. One of the advantages that people like of Old Frontiers is that it creates routes of travel from certain objectives to certain other objectives. When you put teleporting into the mix, you completely cut that element out, and that removes, some of the advantages of Old Frontiers. And since that's what we're trying to sort of like target and focus on, it's a little detrimental. So I'm not a huge fan of teleports in Old Frontiers. And I think the correct way to solve the issue, because they're really highlighting the same issue of everybody sitting in a main all day, every day. And I think the right way to solve that issue is to just put stronger incentives in other locations that will get people out of a main and going to participate in things in Midgard and Albion in those zones that are non a main. And I hope Conquest 2.0 will do that.
Okay, so something in the mix that you can't talk about, but sounds pretty good from our talk earlier and from just now.
Yeah, I'm still ironing out the exact specifics on it, but instead of a bunch of objectives, everyone will be looking at one singular objective, and it'll have some like tertiary objectives around it for non-battle groups to participate in and contribute.
Okay. If anyone is, we have a few viewers now. If anyone does have a question, we are here with Atlas Dev Fenn. Um, so he is open to answering most questions. Some questions he won't. Um, some questions, if he can, he will. And if it's too QQ question, like you can read on Discord, go to Discord. Um, that was that was nice, right? That didn't sound mean.
That was good enough. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, here's a good one. Old RAs versus new RAs. What's your thought on it? What's the process? Are we ever going to see a shorter time? I believe this probably rides around the lines of the two questions we've heard a bazillion times. Purge, 30-minute. I know you'll love this one. Scalds. Pretty sure I don't have to go to the next part
Yeah,
with
I know the three
termination.
letters that follow. Yeah.
And then just it wasn't asked, but I'm gonna throw it out there because other than Scalds with determination, if you can or if you want to talk about obviously Nightshades and Rangers and their side stun.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is sort of a pretty deep question, despite being 12 characters long on the list.
Yeah, it's super
So
short, but it's super like, all right, let's nail
yeah,
everything right now.
yeah. So I guess where do I want to come at this one from? So sort of going back to old frontiers and old RAs are our selling point that makes us different from the other servers. I don't think we want to get away from that too much, which means we probably will never do a full conversion to new frontier RAs. Similar how we probably will never do a full conversion to new frontiers. However, there are some obvious issues with old frontiers. We have a pretty diverse dev team, and we all have different opinions on what should and shouldn't be in the mix. So, as far as like what will be added and what will be added, it's sort of subjective on what the team agrees on. But I can at least give you my personal opinion on some of those.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I think where do we start? I think Purge should go down to a 15-minute timer, but that's just me. That's the old Phoenix player in me. I just like the little bit shorter Purge. I would not go shorter than 15 minutes personally. I don't love determination on scalds. The benchline rule that Mythic used back in the day for their balancing of determination versus not was any class that has access to a CC of some form, like a hard CC, not just a snare, does not get access to determination. And you can see that a rule is applied to every single class in the game. And no class with determination has access to a CC. If we give it to a Scald, we're now violating that rule because they have access to a Mez. And it's like, it's a weird gray area because some people will say, "Oh, we've got one mez on like a 30-second cooldown. Does that really count?" Other people will say, "Holy crap! Look at what skulls are doing to my face. They're hitting me with a two-hander and DDs. Why do they get determination too?" So um, I lean towards no, just because it violates the rule of no CC paired with debt. But I can see the arguments of the other side for sure. Oh yeah, so side stun on Celtic Duel. That is a fun one. That is like up there with Left Axe in terms of how many times I've talked about it.
Yeah, like
I
even reading the
yeah, I'm a
forums, like every post, every other day, there's a post about it.
I know that one thread just keeps getting refreshed. I'm looking at it, people. I'm reading it. So I think as the patch notes stand with 1.62, I think it's pretty clear that Rangers and Nightshades did not have access to side stun. A lot of people will disagree with me on that. That's completely fine. Uh, However, I'm starting to come around. I think that they should get it anyways. I'm starting to think that. So I'm sort of coming around on, even though 1.62 reads like they shouldn't get it, etc., etc. I'm tempted to just let them have access to it. Makes them a bit more group viable. It opens up some specs for Nightshade and I think Ranger as well, where they don't have to rely on the 20 Pierce evade stun. There are some advantages.
Yeah, I, the the one I see all the time is, well, they're never going to get real 8-man groups if they don't have a side stun, and in my head, I'm like, when the hell does a ranger get a 8-man group? But I
Bro,
mean,
I'm right there with you. I mean, I don't really play Hib, so I don't know too much what it's like internally, but I have never seen a Ranger gank me in an 8-man. So maybe
well,
they're out there.
there was a few instances where I saw a ranger in a group in an 8-man, but all they were doing was using him to pop stealthers. So that wasn't
Well, there you go.
that's not an 8-man.
There you go.
Let's see, charge hybrid between the useless, sorry, of it now versus the overpowered of current charge. Any chance of a hybrid for charge?
I think so. Yeah, actually, I'm really glad you brought that up. I think doing hybrid fixes for RAs is probably the exact perfect approach to sort of tune up old Frontiers RAs in a way that's not annoying. Like we did something similar with Thane with their static, or not, sorry. Yeah, it was Static Tempest. Old Frontier Static Tempest is horrible because it does a 3-second stun and gives them a 1-minute immunity timer, which means it doesn't even work with itself on subsequent ticks. It's literally self defeating. It's so bad. So we decided to instead take the new Frontiers version of Static Tempest, which people know and love, and sort of just adjust it slightly to match our rule set. New Frontiers Static Tempest will do the stun immunity reset. However, New Frontiers has the adaptive stun timer system, and we don't. So it sort of feels a little bit different there. So we decided to tweak it. I think that'd be a good way to handle a good chunk of the quote unquote useless RAs in Old Frontiers would just be to like take some inspiration from New Frontiers and just tweak them a little bit to make them useful, but still fit the scenario that we've crafted.
Okay. Can Shadowblades get a useful um, RA?
Oh my God, you don't like Shadowrun?
What who what the hell were people smoking when they came up with that? We're giving
Dude,
Vanish to Infiltrators. We're giving um
Viper to Nightshade.
Viper to Nightshades, and oh, Shadowblade, here you can run away faster. Dude,
Oh my God, right? It's like, I don't know. We've talked about it internally, trying to be like, what would we even do?
you could do
Design this,
Remedy.
but like,
Give Shadowblades Remedy. Like, I mean,
refresh my
they're the
mind
ones
was
who get hardest, especially because it's strength con debuff. Like, give them Remedy on a 15-20 minute timer or whatever. I mean, Nightshades
yeah,
got
that's
it
not a
just
bad
last
idea.
time. Let Shadowblades have a little fun with it.
I mean, that's
Poison.
I like that idea actually. One thing that we tossed around was like turning Shadowrun to be. I mean, it feels way closer to something like WoW, but sort of turning it into like a rogue ambush thing where it instead of letting you move faster in stealth, it would just like teleport you to your target and do a PA automatically or something.
Well,
Um,
when did that come out? When you could spec, I think it was like 35 stealth, and they had it was like a 10 or 15 second setup, and then you teleported across.
what
Maybe
the?
it was after TOA.
That's a real thing. Holy shit! I didn't know that
Yeah,
was a real
it
thing.
was. I
Yeah, I
think it
guess
was
something like
35
that.
stealth. I forgot what, but I remember I made Shadow Strike. It was like a 10, 15 second setup. You couldn't move, you couldn't do anything, and you had to be within. God, I have to log into live to see. You had to be like, say, 2,000 yards or whatever, and you just set up, you pause, and then all of a sudden, phoom, you're PAing, and you always miss creeping death, but you at least PA'd.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that. That might be something like New Frontiers where we would tweak it to match the setup. Although I do what you mentioned with the poison cure.
I
It,
mean,
it seems like it would be very fitting for the kit considering the strength debuff situation.
yeah, give them remedy. I mean, when it first came out, Nightshades were the only one who had it, and that was a disaster because what can you do versus remedy? You're not swapping weapons anymore. But then they gave everyone remedy, and then they gave Nightshades an instant dot. They like Nightshades. Okay, back on to the questions. um, is there anything else? No. Okay. Um, is there any thought of extending XP items to level 1 to 20? Obviously, 1 to 20 doesn't take that long, but if you're solo, it does take a while. And once you hit 20, then you go out and you can start getting XP items, which speeds it up. Is there any thought of doing that from 1 to 20?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something we might add once we get a bit more time. I mean, originally we didn't do anything pre-20s, that we had like guard tasks set up that were meant to be the stand-in. However, implementation wise, the guard tasks are kind of useless. Like it takes more time to run and kill your target than it does to just farm mobs and get XP that way. So they're sort of non-functional. With I mean, having seen that, I think it makes a lot of sense to maybe just cull them entirely and just put some XP items between like 8 and 20 instead.
Right.
But it's not something we've really talked about or planned yet.
Okay. Any more battlegrounds coming? Or are we just keeping it to two?
Probably two for the foreseeable future. We might add a low level one from like 5 to 9 at some point. Um, but the goal of the battlegrounds being spaced the way that they are is that it's sort of it's meant to be timed out against like your leveling progress. So we've seen a lot of places they'll have every battleground in the range between level 15 to 19 all the way up to like 35 to 39, and everything between Thidrinki and Molvik is a ghost town because no one goes there.
Right.
I mean, we're even seeing it on our server now. It's like everybody's in Thidrinki and no one's even in Caledonia, and it's a
Yeah,
ghost town. So
they just passed that one.
yeah, so
It
having too many battlegrounds gives too much choice and sort of like disperses the population too much across them, so that not any one of them are fun and populous. So by culling it down a bit, we think we can sort of pack everybody into those two spots so that they're more eager to gain RPs in their leveling journey. Sort of incentivize that way.
So to go back with the just real quick with the extend XP items to level 1 and 20, is there any thought process in doing just a straight up slash level 20?
Yeah, I don't love it. If we've seen the impacts back on live servers as well, where it has a very negative impact on the leveling ecosystem, even at low levels. I mean, like a lot of people will say, I can't get a group anyways, and I just solo from 1 to 20. But like, the groups are out there. I promise you, they're out there. I've been in a part of a few of them. They're a lot of fun doing low level groups,
Yeah, if
and
you're
if
a
you introduce,
PvAOE, be a
yeah,
stealth
you
group.
get a
Dang,
yeah.
that's out there. Um,
But when you introduce slash level, you get those groups just never form anymore. Anyone that's still doing the 1 to 20 grind is doing it alone. Everybody else is doing slash level, and it just cuts out a big chunk of the experience.
right. And then you have the people that say they're new or whatever going 1 to 20 and not can't get anything. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, that's I sorry I didn't even address that. Yeah, when new players join and they don't have the to level and they have to go through the 1 to 20 grind themselves, it feels horrible. It feels like a ghost
Right.
town.
Most
So
don't stick around because it's not like it's fast from 1 to 20. Um,
exactly. Yeah.
let's see. I'm on more battlegrounds. Okay, we have one more question so far in chat. Then I'll go back to the other questions. RPs through healing ever going to be a thing?
It's possible that might be a thing. Yeah, I got nothing against it. I think we might have had it at some point and removed it, but it's something to talk about. It goes back to we don't want to have too much RP inflation, so we really have to be careful about how many RPs we award if we do award them for healing, etc., etc. But it's not off the table.
Okay. Um, relics. Reduce strength of relics or make them only have influence in PvE. Kind of a good two-part question. What do
Yeah.
you?
So we're internally discussing a relic rework at the moment, sort of ironing out what exactly we want them to do and the function we want them to serve. Uh, they will be reduced in strength in some way. 20% for holding all the relics is just absurd. Like it's not tenable.
Well, no one
So they
goes and
will be
plays anywhere else. They'll
exactly, yeah.
just go there.
We've seen relic hoppers, we've seen all sorts of stuff. It's an issue that's always going to be around that you can only sort of alleviate a little bit, but never fully remove. But anyways, we are reworking the relics a bit. Um, there's been a lot of interesting ideas put in the general chat and in the team chat, and I'm not sure how many of the specifics I can share, but I think we're planning on doing some sort of scaling reward. So you capture a relic. Hurrah, good job, Realm. We did it. That's great. You should be rewarded. So maybe for the first day of capturing the relic, you have the full 10% power benefit or strength or whatever. Day 2, it goes down to 7.5. Day 3, it goes down to day 4, it goes down to 2.5, where it sits until it's recaptured. So it's sort of like a scaled reward that lets you have sort of a victory lap with your newfound power and doesn't end up with a situation of one realm having plus 20% everything forever.
Okay.
Also, tossing around the ideas of scaling it off of realm loyalty. That also would help relic hoppers a bit, or prevent relic hoppers rather. Sort of gating how much power you can get from your relic based off of how loyal you are to the realm. And a couple other ideas.
That's
I'll
kind of
leave the
cool.
rest to a mystery.
Right. So if you have 100% loyalty, you could get the 20%, and then it scales down from there.
Yeah, if you're only loyal for a couple days because you just hopped over maybe only 1% of the power of it or
Right.
something. But
And
yeah,
then you're just like, screw it, I'm going back to L. Um,
yeah, rather take them myself and get 10%.
right. Um, I think you guys have this one, but I'm gonna read it just because I'm not really sure. Is there any possible way to extend the level range on inviting people to an XP group before you get hit with a huge XP nerf based on level difference?
Um, I'm guessing this is in the scenario of like you've got a low level group and you want to invite a higher level character to help you out, sort of thing.
Um, or vice versa. The way it's worded, yeah. I
Yeah, I mean, I've seen systems in other MMOs that I've quite liked where you sort of allow for mentorship of things. So like, a high level character could join the party of a low character and downrank themselves to be viewed as a level 24 or whatever instead of a 50 and have everything scaled to that. I think that'd be kind of fun and cool to implement in our system. So if you've got a level 50 buddy and you want to level a new character, he can just like downscale to your level and just slot right in. I think that'd be cool to do. I think technically speaking, it's not something we've looked at doing, so I don't really know if it would work or how it would work, but I do like that idea. Basically anything that makes it easier to group and be social within your realm is a good thing, in my opinion,
right.
and that
Um,
falls under that.
yeah. Increase. So this is for obviously everyone. Increase charge numbers on items. Get 100% loyalty, and you don't have to worry. Decrease the cost to recharge them. So can you increase the charge numbers on items and decrease the cost to recharge them? Any thought on that?
It's not something we've really talked about. I'm open to the discussion, certainly. You know, I don't know how much benefit there is in keeping the number of possible charges on an item low, but I do know there is definitely benefit in keeping the price of recharges high. So it's a very loud truck going by. Sorry. Um,
Oh, I was like, you just
there's a
muted. Oh no, did I lose you?
yeah. Sorry, I
Bad
just had to
question.
close my window. Yeah, I'm out.
All right.
But no, there's benefit in keeping the recharge values high from an economic standpoint. That is money for the. So I know it doesn't feel good on the player side to have to keep paying money to use your charges, but also, you know, that is one of the ways that money leaves the system, and you don't end up with like multiple plats for a buff potion in a couple years because everybody's rolling around with cash.
Right. Um, so I'm trying to think. Is alchemy, although I know when it first came out, there it was just three charges on alchemy pots, and now it's I don't know. I'm not high enough level to get them. Is it 10?
I think it's 10. Yeah, I actually, if I'm being honest, I have not worked on a ton of the crafting stuff. That was mostly other devs. So I'm sort of like coming at it from an outside view on a
I
lot of
don't
the
remember.
craft.
I just know I go to hit the button and it's not there anymore, and I grab the next one. Um,
Yeah, right.
any um instances of like if you're legendary alchemist to have like the next level of pots to where there's like 50 or 100 charges on what do they have? End regen, haste, damage add, anything like that, or is it pretty much going to stay at 10?
I'm actually not sure what our setup is for the alchemy potions at the moment, but I think adding, 50 or 100 charge versions of the things that only have 10 or fewer would be nice. Just, it's a nice quality of life change so you don't have to use as many inventory slots. It's not as annoying to interact with. And as long as we scale the cost correctly, it should have no like monetary impact to do that. So I like it.
Okay. And then RPs for relic take.
Yeah, so that sort of goes back to that relic rework I was talking about. We're sort of trying to figure out where to fit rewards into that structure correctly. And I think giving an RP reward for relic capture is probably the right method or will be in there in some fashion, but I don't have any specifics on RP rewards at the moment.
Okay, but there's something. I'm just getting messages on Discord.
No, yeah, you're good. Yeah, so we're actively talking about we're figuring out how to rework them in a way that matches our vision and is more balanced and hopefully incentivized as well.
Okay. I'm gonna scroll through this. I'm gonna ask this question, kind of for rules of streaming on Twitch for you guys. Delay, no delay. What's your rules, or do you have any?
Oh yeah, so I think the mods do have a statement on like streaming things in our rule page. I'm doing this just off memory, so it might be wrong. Go check the page if you want specifics, but I'm pretty sure the rule is that streaming is completely allowed as long as you do it wisely. Like if you're in a battle group, it's up to the battle group leader to say whether or not they do or do not want you to stream or have a delay or whatever. I don't know if our server has any concrete rules just out of the box for like you need to have X delay.
Okay.
I
Any
think it's
like
sort of like
covering up your chat window or anything like that?
let me pull up the rules real quick, just so I'm not feeding bad info.
Just since it's on here, I think we've gone over almost every question I've heard on Discord or chat, and I'm gonna post it up, and then it'll be a good, hey, go listen to the stream. Like it's answered there.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got it here. This is a page of our website. It's number 13, in case anybody out there wants to go read it themselves. But the rule says, "Do not gather intelligence about another exploit it for your advantage. Assisting in this by knowingly sharing intelligence is forbidden as well. Players who wish to stream RVR do so at their own risk. BG leaders who become aware of players streaming are permitted to deal with the player in whatever way they see fit, such as asking them to put a delay on there or stop streaming entirely. If the player refuses, the BG leader has every right to remove them from the BG. If someone's like not in your battle group and following you and actively streaming your location, they're now like violating harassment rules. So please appeal them.
Oh, so they're both. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because once you as the BG leader have said, "Do not stream my battle group," you don't have permission, and they continue to do it, like they're now violating rule 15. Outside of that, it's really up to you guys to police it however you want until those violations happen.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about while I read through my questions? Any question you've heard or that you've gone over a bazillion times? You don't have to talk about left axe. We already did that.
It's all backed by math. I swear to God.
Math, crayons, and pictures, and we're good.
Yeah. Why I'm out of crayons. All the shadowblades ate them. No, all right, just kidding. Just kidding. I love you guys. Let's see. I'm excited for what we've got planned. You know, we've finally got stability more or less settled once Hetzner stops having its switches randomly drop people. And we've got some really cool plans for like forward-looking things. And I'm excited to get some of these really annoying bugs fixed.
Yeah. I'm just trying to check real quick. Didn't think we'd get through the questions that. Well, I guess it hasn't been that fast. We've been on for almost an hour. I don't want to take up all your day. And the
Yeah,
whole
I'm good.
time,
I'm chilling.
we have not had one LD, one lag. So, what would
Let's
you,
go.
right? No, I will, just because I freaking said something.
Yeah.
So somebody comes past this video and they're watching it and they're really into it, but they played the first weekend. What would you say to that person? Like, what would to get them back over?
That's a great question. I would say, you know, honestly, please come just give it another try and see how it feels now. I will not lie there. You will certainly find some that there's no two ways around that. We are working to fix them, but stability wise, crash wise, lag wise, it's like a completely different server from launch weekend or relaunch weekend or even like a week ago. Like it's getting rock solid now finally, other than the network issues.
And
So give it a try. Try it for yourself. If it's still not your bag, I completely understand.
McCrow wants to know what dev is the biggest fan of Catfix. I should ask.
Oh, that is a question. That's a highly contended position. We all have cats, and we're all huge cat people. I think Clay probably posts the most pictures of his own cat, but you know, we're constantly just launching cats at each other in the team chats.
He said it's Nav.
I mean, he's in the top 3 cat connoisseurs. I would say.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of any more or find any. Crafting. Since we talked about left axe, side stun, and everything else, when will we get crafting? And that goes into two parts. So the first part is when will we get slash command to auto do it? And is it against the rules to set up a program or AHK that will allow you to do that while that's getting fixed?
Ooh, that's a spicy one. Okay, so I'll take the second half first because the answer there is pretty clear. As the rules are written on our server, no, you cannot do that because it would involve loops and delays, and that is strictly verboten. However, speaking as Fenn the player and not the dev here, it would be very hard to detect. if someone were to do that. So use that how you will.
Ooh, a
Um,
loophole.
that's just, hey,
Sounds like we're talking to our past president.
hey, I'm just talking about technical limitations here. I'm not talking about what you should or shouldn't do. um, Going back to the first half of that, I think we are planning on trying to reintroduce craft set soon, probably in the next couple days here. The reason why it was removed is that we believed it was a cause of the freezing. We haven't had freezes in quite a while. Maybe because craft set's been gone, but
Well,
you
let's
may
test it.
remember.
Bring it out for a
Yeah, I
couple
mean,
hours and
yeah. Yeah, so we did reintroduce it for a couple days like a week ago, and then we had one freeze and we were like, oh shit, maybe that was the reason. So we were been like trying to recreate it locally, but it's very difficult to recreate some of these things with one person on a local server because there's like zero lag there.
right, just
But
like
when
all
you
the
have
testing we did in beta didn't compare to release date.
exactly, yeah, like when your server's running really cool and there's like 5 people on it and everything's happening in 2 milliseconds, it's really hard to recreate some of the things that happen when it's bursting at the seams and you've got like 500 millisecond loops and everything. So yeah, all that said, we are planning on reintroducing it soon. If it's still not fixed, it may come back out again, but it is being looked at, I swear.
I know because I think I had that day off, and I logged it. I went to Discord. That's the first thing I do. It's kind of my morning ritual to make myself feel better. And I saw the patch notes, and it was like it's reintroduced, and I was like, sweet. I logged in. I was doing so I could salvage, and I just hit um LGM so I can salvage anything, and the server went down, and it was gone, and I was like, fine by me. Um, it worked. I got it to the right port. Um, just like the wireless keyboard loophole with bone dancers. Oh, I know. So, away from keyboard farming.
Oh,
Um,
I've heard the make roll hypothesis. If you take your wireless keyboard with you, is it still away from keyboard? I I'm not. I don't do mod stuff. I try to stay away from like player punishment stuff. But I would rule that as away from the keyboard still.
okay,
So yeah,
that was
I,
probably the most
I see
important
you.
question we asked. Um, so on Discord, I'm reading, trying to get through the real questions. Is there any possibility of changing the strength con to this weapon skill con debuff?
It's possible. It does definitely carry some balance considerations, even outside of just Shadowblade versus Nightshade and Infiltrator. Like it changes the dynamic of every stealther versus melee matchup in the game. So like it wouldn't just be making Shadowblades well, it wouldn't really be making Shadowblades better in any way because they're still getting debuffed by the thing. It would be making the Dex classes worse, which means you're not just hitting Nightshade and Infiltrator, you're also hitting Friars, you're hitting Thrust Blade Masters and Mercenaries, you're hitting, Thrust Paladins if they're running around there somewhere. Like, there's a whole bunch of other classes that may have beat a Stealther with strength debuffs that would no longer beat them with dex debuffs. And it's like, we have to consider that, or sorry, weapon skill debuffs. So we have to consider all of that before we, of that nature. So it's something we're thinking about, no outcome yet.
Okay. We're assassins. We can't kill anything anyway, so you can just help us out. Um, let's see, right? Is there any um I know this has been brought up quite a few times about salvaging. Um, getting more out of salvaging. Some people are saying that it's not even worth salvaging right now because you can just sell the items back to the merchant and make more money half the time. Is there any, are you guys working on anything? Is that important on your part? Or is it just kind of like up in the air still?
Yeah, I mean, salvage values are something we've been sort of tweaking for since launch. It It's been a pretty involved process. I will admit I haven't been a huge part of it because, as I mentioned before, most of the crafting stuff has been handled by other devs. So I'm mostly coming at it from like a third party view of it. Um, but our intent is not to have bad salvage values and just leave it that way. We want to recreate the experience where you can vendor as is for some coin, or you can invest in the salvage process to get a bit more money out of it. So if it's not doing that at the moment, it'll be worked on and get into that spot.
I don't even remember salvaging anything back then. Um, but like I said, I can barely remember what I did yesterday. Um,
Yeah.
Honestly, like all these people are like, well, you could do this on 1.65, and I'm thinking, isn't that like 2003, 2000 something? Like I've lost time completely since COVID. Like the last 3 years have
Dude.
just been like, what? That was 3 years ago, really? Like I thought that
Yeah,
was
right.
last
I
week.
keep thinking like, oh yeah, I did that right at the start of COVID, and then it's like, holy shit, that was like 2.5 years ago now.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
let's see. And the strength con one, obviously depending, like if you guys did actually go together and give Shadowblades remedy, that would probably take out half of the crying because it's mostly them crying about it. Um,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think like maybe rather than just switching to weapon skill poison and just saying like, that's our fix, I think there's probably a better route out there that's a bit more comprehensive. So like maybe tweaking debuff values to match our lowered buff potions, because right now we're having full debuff value with weaker buff potions, so there's like a more of a disparity there. So maybe tweaking that, giving Shadowblades that access to a way to work around their disadvantage through the class skill, I think sounds awesome. So I think there's better solutions than just, this has been done before, we're going to do it too. And
right. Anything but Shadowrun.
yeah, yeah, really, that's what we're getting down to.
I
That's
mean,
what I actually came here to talk about today.
yeah.
We need to get
The yeah,
Shadowrun.
the whole week I've been talking to you is like we're just gonna talk about Shadowrun because
Yeah, those left axe guys don't know what they're talking about. Shadowrun is the real problem.
yeah, I don't care what my offhand hits. Just give me something other than Shadowrun.
Yeah.
Since we're on Midgard talking, I'm just kind of scrolling through. It's really hard to scroll through Discord.
That's all good.
Anything for hunters? Their pet with disease, getting a small shield. That is, when I first saw that, I couldn't, like I said, since I've been around, I've always had a hunter with a shield. I don't remember in the pet with disease. But I know that also brings up like that's another spell crafting, that's another charge, it gives them a whole new element of having a extra weapon per se. Um, could you do like because they basically want it for blocking and you use a sword instead of having to use a spear. Is there a way you guys could do like a drop create, I guess, out of your own imaginations, like a shield specifically for a hunter, like having like certain stats on it, or obviously they're not going to be slamming, so they can't do many charges, but just something for them, or at this patch level they just didn't have a shield.
Yeah, so I mean that's I hear what you're saying for sure. And I do believe that Hunter could maybe use a little bit of love in there. I know on Phoenix they had access to the modified sword style, so they could do after evade instead of after block. I know a lot of people were big fans of running sword hunters over there. It would be nice to have some sort of similar spec choice like that, whether that be allowing for some sort of shield so they can use an after block style correctly, or changing the style itself to be after evade, whatever it is. I think there could be something done there. I will admit I'm not the biggest guy on stealther balance, meaning like I don't really play stealthers a ton. I've played them in the past a little bit, but like they're not what I love. And so I'm probably not the best single dev to talk about like hunter buffs and changes, but uh, this is something we would talk about in the team and probably write conclusion for. We did talk about the disease on hunter pets a bit back in beta, I think, and we actually decided to go off of that. I I wasn't a huge part of the discussion because I'm not really like a huge stealther guy, but the agreement there was that having disease on the pet would make hunters a bit too powerful because it would give them the ability to just like permanently kite a bunch of things and like basically have a lot less risk to them. So um, it was thought about and removed specifically. Doesn't mean it can't come back or hunter changes won't be made. I just don't really.
Because they did have disease for a while. I remember that because I
Yeah.
saw
In the beta, we had
yeah,
a few weeks or maybe even months where they did have access to the disease.
yeah. So without changing, doing a whole style change, which people threw a hissy when Phoenix did it because they didn't do it right. But is there any plans for like I know in Celtic Duel and Dual Wield, even Left Axe, um, they share between mercenaries and assassins, and some of the best styles in those lines have uh, a stun off evade, but it's all on parry. And obviously, if you want to roll, I'm not sure how we got on this stealther talk, but if you
It's
if you want to spec dual wield or slash or anything else, you're kind of crippled to 50 thrust for an infiltrator to get a stun. And obviously, with 30-minute purge, a stun can be huge. But have you guys looked at any of the styles that coexist between um, the dual wielding classes to where if it's off a parry, you could change it to also being off evade or anything like that? Because I like thrust, but man, specking 50 thrust for a stun when I could get it at like 34 in dual wield, even if it's even if it's a second style. Like, is there any talk about doing something like that?
It's a good question. It's certainly a good question. I personally am terrified to do style changes, especially after seeing what happened on Phoenix with their style changes. It's very easy to go
They went
too
on
far.
crack when they did theirs, though. I was just what
Yeah.
the hell?
But, even beyond going like full custom with it and just changing the reactionary prerequisites, like there's still some pretty decent balance considerations to be done before that happens. Like, you're technically these you're giving new abilities to a class that may not have had it before. Like you wouldn't expect the infiltrator to parry and do the stun, but now he can do stuns in ways he couldn't before, and the infiltrator is now stronger for it. So
Right.
it sort of has implications on that side of things.
And now they're even more powerful, which is going to make even more people mad because they already think
Yeah,
it's
well,
like
so
too powerful.
yeah, I mean the counterpoint to that is I actually am less afraid of it if we stick with strength poisons
Right.
because a lot of players, nightshades and infiltrators will go heavy into pierce for their evade stuns, uh, and allowing them to spec into like slash based weapons instead. It does not come without a downside. Like they'd start getting hit by those strength poison penalties and maybe do less damage overall. So like it might balance out on that. So it's really more of a discussion that needs to be had more than a, I don't know.
Yeah. More of a down to let's. But of course, once people start hearing that you're working on assassins, they're gonna be like, well, what about me? Um,
Yeah.
so that was the style. And then, oh man, I just saw it's really hard to read through.
That's all good.
um, what is your policy on people who delete 50s? That gives me time to reach through here.
Yeah. I'm always curious the thought process.
I was
Uh,
tired. That's the thought process.
man, no, I mean, I've deleted my fair share of 50s in my day. Although back then it was so that I could realm hop instead of on accident. But
Right.
I've lost quite a few level 50s back on the live servers. Rest in peace.
Right. Especially, live got to the point where you could level so fast that if you did delete a 50, it was like whatever. 4 hours later, you had it back. Um, that
Yeah,
was
probably faster to re-level one than it is to do like in a P to restore it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and you guys, so lately, it seems like patch notes are coming through a lot slower. Um, like before, like we don't need patch notes every day. We had a server like that. That was horrible. Like every day your character was new. Um, are you guys just working on a lot of background stuff that obviously doesn't need to be brought to our attention? I know there was a lot of people who were like, it's been like 4 days and no one said anything about what's going on, and you know, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Um, is for the long pauses or the no patch notes, is there anything that you can kind of tell the people like we're not just ignoring you, we're just busy and we have lives. We're doing
Yeah,
people's work.
absolutely. I mean that basically hits it right on the head. Like we are a full volunteer development team. Are getting paid, and we all have to do day job stuff to put bread on the table. So like it's not that we don't care about the project. It's just people have been very busy recently, and also a couple people have you know let me rephrase that. All of us crunched really hard to get the launch ready when it did, or at least as ready as we could get it. And so, we were putting like 40, 80-hour weeks into the project before the launch happened. And so, very much a crunch time. And a few people are now sort of like recouping that time loss, like taking a breather to recharge the batteries after doing that massive sprint. Um, and then paired with that, we have our main focus has been working on server performance and getting it not crashing and all that, which means a lot of the changes we're making behind the scenes don't really even make sense to put in a patch note. It would just confused players. Uh, so a lot of the changes we've been making recently haven't been noteworthy. So even though our Git feed has tens and tens of commits every single day, it might not be stuff that makes sense to convey back to the players because you guys don't care that we changed a list to a hash set for our entity manager. Like most people don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. So it's just
Ah,
not
you lost
put
me.
in there. Yeah. So yeah, it's just a lot of technical changes that don't make sense to be in notes paired with some people that would make non-technical changes are taking a breather to recoup.
Have you guys, I don't know if you can answer this, but have you guys found anyone? Could you write out what you just said in crayon so Mikhail can understand that? Um, yeah, that would definitely get the. I wish
I
more
told you
people.
the shadowblades ate them all.
Yeah, I wish more people were on here that would actually ask questions. Um, anyone who's like blatant um, cheats that you've had to deal with, like radar or anything like that, that just kind of threw you guys off, or do you have anything in? What's the process of like if you think somebody's cheating, but you don't really want to like come running to you or someone else, like I think they're cheating, like
If you think someone is cheating, I'm using the royal. Anybody who's watching, if you think someone's cheating, please document. What you're seeing, whatever makes you think they're cheating, and then open an appeal in the Discord and provide that information. Will take care of any actions that need to happen with that. We've had a few a few unsubstantiated reports of radar for sure. We've checked them out. We haven't found any concrete info on those yet. I think we've definitely had our share of bans for bad behavior. I think we've had a few like people exploiting mechanics and not letting us know that bug existed. They got clapped because that's bad behavior too. Uh, I guess the worst thing to do would be to go to the general chat and say, "Hey, I think XYZ is radaring or exploiting," and whoever you're talking about can see that message and stop doing it when we go to investigate. So it's much better to gather your info, open an appeal, and just let us like piece it apart that way.
Right. I just told a GM you were cheating. Like, 2 seconds to turn
Yeah,
off the program.
the cops are on the way.
Yeah, right.
It's just like,
The
well,
cops are
okay,
outside the
bye.
door. Quit smoking. Oh crap. Um,
Yeah.
anything about so there this one was just posted on Discord. He wasn't sure where to put it, but something about a Fid Charm pet. He was on a level 24 Blade Master, and a Minstrel pet is hitting harder than he is. I don't know. What's your spec? Um,
Yeah,
but
I guess that'd be my question.
yeah, he's like
It's
4 Pierce or something. But even like during beta, there are, I think I talked to you a couple times. There are some pets that will, I, that one pet heals better than most clerics who are like 50 rejuve. Um,
oh yeah,
or
the
pet
Empyrean
or
Elder,
hit
I think.
super hard. I believe that pet was toned down a little bit, but he's still a really good healer. That's why I can't wait to hit 50 and go grab one. But no, I'm not gonna be part of the problem. Um, but it does seem like some pets are once you get into RVR. Obviously in PvE, no one complains about a pet. I have this. I don't know if you're watching my stream, but I have this sacrificer, and I wish he was a higher level because I would keep him all the way till 50. No one's going
Oh,
to
nice.
complain about an amazing pet in PvE. Of course, on the other hand, when you get two-shotted by a pet in RVR,
Yeah.
it's a totally different game. Um, are you guys looking at pets damage? I know I was talking to somebody and they were like, these are just the main damages that were put in place at this patch level, and just kind of you got to deal with it. Um, what's do you guys want the info if you find a pet that is? I'm not telling you about this one, but you probably already know. Um, is any pets being looked at? Other people were complaining that they get a yellow pet and it hits 4 times harder than when they grab a purple pet, which shouldn't be in game. I even play a mini and you should be able to get a purple pet. But is any of that being looked at?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely aware of some of the pet issues on the server. Pets hitting pretty hard in melee compared to player outputs. Some of their spell loadouts being kind of insane. you know, we do sort of have to take them on a case by case basis. I've seen the amount of like digging through old information that our world builders have had to do, looking at like old Prima guides, like web archive cached pages from 2002 with mob layouts and stuff. And every crazy pet you're seeing, like the Empyrean Elder, or Granny, or whatever, like it's been vetted so many times by the world builders, and if it has a crazy kit, it's probably because Mythic was doing some crazy shit. But that said, we're not deaf to balance as well. So like if an Empyrean Elder is healing for a full health bar every time someone dropped to 50%, maybe it needs to be tweaked down just for normal balance, even if that is how back in the day. So it's sort of a case by case appraisal. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Well, Haze Fest just looked like he brought in 32 people, so I
Hey,
hope
what's
you
up,
have a
Ace?
couple more minutes. Um,
Yeah, I got time.
because this might bring a whole new set of questions. Um, so yes, the first time in beta, I was on my Nightshade and I attacked a minstrel, and their pet went bonkers, and I swapped. I mean, I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna sit down because that healing pet was insane. Um,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I can't even. And then the next time I fought him, I evaded and I turned to the pet and stunned the pet and then killed him. But I was like, well, that worked that time, but that first time, good lord. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
some of those pets are just very interestingly designed from the get go.
yeah,
Everybody think Mythic.
and I was like, who on Mythic was smoking that much where they thought, hey, this pet can heal for 900 damage every 30 seconds is a good idea. Um,
Probably Mark Jacobs on one of his like
yeah,
2 a.m. benders.
he's like, this will piss everybody off. Let's do it. Um, so anyone who just joined, thank you. Thank you for the follow. We are on here with Atlas Dev, Fenn. He's been asking
Hello.
tons of questions. We've been going for a little over an hour, so I'm not sure how much longer he will um, want to stay on. We've went over pretty much everything that I can think of. All the questions. We went over all the left acts, the side stuns, the determinations, RVR. Um, that brings up one thing. So obviously we're in Old Frontiers,
Mm.
and people either like it or they don't like it. Is there anything that would get people to RVR more as opposed to when you've played New Frontiers and you go to take a keep? There's so many like different blind spots in different places you can attack from. And it's interesting because you can do a lot on a New Frontier keep, whereas the Old Frontier keeps are very bleh,
They
as some
suck.
people said. It's
Yeah.
either everyone's sitting there stunned or mezzed or waiting for the door to open, and then once the door opens, it's repeating the process. Um, kind of all of fighting when you're used to New Frontiers and you go to Old Frontiers, fighting in a keep with the terrain and the way the land is and the hills, it gets very nobody wants to do it anymore. It's not as fun, I guess, if you like taking keeps. Is there any kind of combination where you could do like Old Frontiers with like a New Frontier style of keep?
Yeah. So I'm glad you asked that. It's actually come up quite a few times in journal. uh, it it's sort of like a longer term thing that we're even seeing if it's plausible to do, but there's multiple of us on the team that think it would be really cool if we could get New Frontier keeps grafted into the Old Frontiers maps. Um, because yeah, I mean the Old Frontiers keeps do kind of suck. I mean, they're not great for line of sight. They're not really as fun to fight in and around as the New Frontier keeps, in my opinion. So I think there's definitely some room for improvement there. The downside, of course, is that doing that project is a lot of work because, without getting too technical, Old Frontiers maps are like grafted into, or sorry, Old Frontiers keeps rather are like grafted into the map itself. Like they're part of the map data. So they're really like intrinsically part of Old Frontiers. New Frontiers keeps, however, Mythic decided to just make a big flat spot on the map, and then they, using in-game objects, construct a keep in that. So it's using in-game objects rather than being map data. Um, so there's like a fundamental difference in how the keeps work that creates some difficulty because in order to actually do that project, we would have to first, we'd first have to open the Old Frontiers map file, physically edit the maps themselves to remove the keeps and put a flat spot there ourselves. And then we'd have to go in game and reconstruct keeps in all of those spots using. I mean, we could probably use some New Frontiers keep layouts for it, but also those keeps are a lot bigger than what we have space for on Old Frontiers. So we might have to do some like weird custom built small keep or something. So there's a lot of work involved, but it does sound like it would be awesome.
Yeah. um, or even like taking out the keep and just putting in even a tower. I mean, the
Oh,
towers in
yeah.
NF are even more fun
So
to
we
fight than.
actually, this might come into play. Soon is not the right word for this because this is also something we're just tossing the idea around. But it would be a lot easier to just add in a couple towers into Old Frontiers using the NF towers because we wouldn't have to edit map data for that. We just have to put, one of those tower objects in a spot on the map, and that's pretty easy. So we are considering a little bit of tower action, talking
Okay.
about it.
So a few custom changes, but not anything that's going to take away from the lull and the love of people who like OF.
Yeah, I mean, we really want to play to OF's strengths, and I think that clear routes of travel and like the flow of the battle is something that is very different NF and something we want to keep around in our system because like that's the advantage of OF. So anything we add will certainly be with that in mind.
Okay. I'm just waiting to see if anyone else brings up any questions. Um, Thank you very much for your time, by the way. Um, I know you have a lot of things going on that you've talked about, which is good.
Yeah,
Um,
my pleasure. It's been fun coming on here.
it's nice to know that there's people in the dev community who likes to come and hang out with um, us little people. Um,
Dude, I'm always creeping in your guys' streams if I'm being honest.
well, say hi. We'll pull you in.
Hey,
Just do quick questions. Any
yeah,
plan?
rapid
Okay.
fire.
So, oh, one we didn't talk about. I feel so bad. Necros.
Yeah, what about him?
Any any fixes for the? I mean, they used to be the like dominant power level. Like they were never super good in RVR, but they could hold their own and not just be a power battery for the healers.
Hmm.
But I mean, I knew on live, I before all the new changes. Like it's not even a necro anymore. Um, but
Oh, I
like,
was reading about what they did. It
oh my God,
seems
they're insane now.
crazy.
Like, I went back to live when Phoenix shut down. I was like, I'll play my necro, and I logged on. I'm like, what the hell is this? You summon your own weapon. Now you're a pet. Like, it's crazy. Um,
Look what they did to my boy.
yeah, I don't even know how to play this class anymore. I had to restart from one to learn how to play him. But
Yeah.
like even on Phoenix, you could farm and you could like, and now they're definitely not even what I remember from when they first came out. As in like buff yourself first and make the pet and everything transfers over. Um, like, is there any works coming in from and the pay? Just so you know, the stream I just got like tons of questions. So
Oh,
of
great.
course,
Yeah, no, that's great.
most of them at the moment is now Necros. Um, but any hey, we dealt with shadowblades. Let's go to Necros.
Let's
Um,
go to Necros.
yes, so it's all yours.
Yeah, so I mean, there's definitely some issues with Necro. We're aware of it. It's being worked on. Most notably, I know it's super annoying that the pet will like randomly die and despawn if you're moving too quickly. I think we may have made it responsive in the last patch, so hopefully that helps. But yeah, I mean, we're aware that Necro is not in a great spot right now, so it is definitely on the list. Um, Maybe a rework is not the right word, but like a touch up, a repolishing.
But maybe we can get all the people who main a Necro to come step up and be like, hey, I remember this and this and this, and then you guys can look at it and be like, oh yeah, it's right here, and just kind of make that class what it's supposed to be. Like it
Yeah,
just
I mean,
seems
my
like now
first,
all they are is hey, give me power.
yeah, and even then they don't really get to do that a ton in the raids because of resistance, which is
Yeah,
another totally aware of. So yes, it's on the docket. I love Necros as much as the next guy. That was my very first 50 back on Alp Merlin live server. I love my Necro. I'm sad they're not doing good now, but hold tight, my undead friends.
perfect. Any plans? So I think this is two parts. Any plans to set salvage loot to the base item returns?
Set salvage loot to the base item return. So like if you salvage an item, vendor name is just. Oh no, I see. So like if you salvage a crafted item, it returns for the same amount of materials that you used to craft it. Is that what you mean?
I believe so. That's always my
Um.
response.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. I am not sure actually. As I mentioned earlier, like most of the crafting and salvage stuff has been worked on by others, so I'm sort of having like a third party view into the workings of it. But I know that they are like actively looking at salvage rates, and it's been tweaked a couple times, even within the last like week or two. So um, I would say it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I would have to ask one of the other devs to get concrete info.
Okay. Legrim says, please fix us. I main a Necro.
Hey, hold tight, brother. Hold tight.
Any plans to help solo farm drop rates for classes that cannot AoE farm 50 plus mobs at a time?
It's a tricky one because you want your farm classes to still have the advantage of being the farm classes, and changing solo drop rates like across the board is not really feasible, because like anything you do to help a non AoE class, oopsies, I think my mic got. Anything you do to help a non AoE farm class get more loot will help the AoE farm class like 1,000% more. Like if it's just increasing drop rates or utilities or something. So I think we might have a route to improve that by maybe tying it to realm loyalty. So let me take a step back. I did all of the work on rocks for the server, so I have a lot of good. And one of the things I want to change is adding utility floors. So right now the ceiling is based off of the mob level that you're killing, more or less. So like your maximum possible is based off of that. But the lowest possible can be, I think 15 is the lowest possible, or maybe even a little bit less than that. So like there's a huge band range between 15 and 60 for like the end game stuff, or 80, whatever plus. I think what I want to do is, using realm loyalty as the gate, do some sort of like utility floor, and or the ability to target specific types of things. So like, if I'm leveling a what's a good example? If I'm leveling a thrust two-handed paladin because I'm crazy mode, maybe with realm loyalty, I would then have a way to get more two-handed drops and or more thrust drops while I'm leveling, so that even if I'm not getting a ton of loot, the loot that I'm getting is more useful.
Whatever your Avalonian thrust paladin.
Yeah, my Avalonian thrust paladin, baby.
Can you get some drops guaranteed with con? Okay. Does okay, back to Necro for a second. Does acuity / intelligence even scale my damage on a Necro? And they say, because I swear it doesn't feel like it.
I would have to look at the code to give you a 100% positive answer on that, but as with my understanding of it, or at least my theory on what you may be experiencing, yes, acuity on the Necromancer should raise your spell damage. It is possible that you're maybe encountering an issue where spell damage is based off of the pet's casting stat instead, which is something that would be a bug that we'd have to look at. But the easy answer is yes, raising acuity or intelligence should increase your spell.
They said on Phoenix they increased the timer for shade falling behind. Could that be done as well?
Oh, for the pet. Yeah, actually, I did actually bump that up. Well, not the timer, but the distance at which the tether breaks. So right now we have a 10-second, I think, timer for the tether if you're out of range. And I think it's a 750 unit distance for that timer to start. And if you ever go more than 1500, it just cuts it there. So it's like a soft tether and a hard tether. I don't think we have any plans to change the 10 seconds at the moment, but I'm not opposed to it, to make it like 15 or 20 to give you some more buffer time. That seems like a non-impactful change that would help.
Okay. Is there a... Hold on, let me read this quiet first. Is there a battle group chest feature for epic endgame content coming in the near future?
Oh, that is something we are actively working on. I think I have one of our devs, I think, is like currently tossing together the framework for that. So yeah, it's definitely planned to get the BG treasure chest that Phoenix had, something like that working.
Right, just to make it a little easier.
Yeah, because I mean, it's kind of a nightmare to do loot in a battle group right now. And I mean, so actually, on that note, we are going to battle group reward flagging. It's sort of an issue across a couple aspects of the game at the moment, where like if you're in a battle group, your contribution to certain things doesn't track correctly, et cetera, et cetera. So that will be reworked. That will also likely have a side effect of like changing how loot is distributed in battle groups at that time. And then ideally, we'll probably stack all three of those together with the battle group treasure chest becoming available.
Okay.
So small battle group rework on the way as well.
I think that anyone who runs raids will appreciate that for sure. I know when I join battle groups and I roll and I see how they do it, I'm like, oh, where's my roll? Oh, a 200? I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah. If a battle group leader ever said we're going lowest to highest, I'd probably win. And then, no, because then I'd roll 1,000, and
Yeah, I get the
it's always the
full
opposite.
4-digit 1,000.
Any chance of realm-wide crafting, i.e., if I LGM on my Necro, could I salvage on my Minstrel? Yes, we already have that.
100% chance.
That's what I was afraid of when I deleted my Minstrel. It was like, oh no, I just got LGM. And
oh,
they were like,
that would have been brutal.
They were like, no, it's account wide. I was like, oh yeah, phew. Because
Yeah,
that was
we
more
got
painful than anything else, besides the 60,000 orbs.
Yeah.
Dirty Wow said he wants to put your troll
Dirty.
skull on a spike in Camelot.
Bro.
Yeah, he's friendly.
Okay.
No, he's not bad. I want his. Okay, he's weird. No, he's pretty cool actually.
Yeah, I'm just playing.
He felt bad when he found out I deleted my Minstrel. That's so painful. Battle group chat features. Can we expect more raid type things? I think we kind of hit on that earlier. I know you were talking earlier about like dungeons that you could kind of like they do on live, where you can go do a dungeon with you or your group. Any more besides just SI dungeons? Thank you for the
Yeah,
follow.
so I'll come at you not as an Atlas team member perspective on this one, just as like this is what Fenn the individual thinks would be cool to have. This might manifest on Atlas someday, maybe not, depends on what we do.
Well, if you
But
say it, it better be coming because you know all these people watching are going to be on Discord saying, "Hey, Fenn, when's this coming?"
yeah, you said it. Yeah,
You said it.
but
It's even in crayon.
yeah, so it's written right here. Don't ask me where the crayon went though. I ate it. Yeah, my ideal endgame PvE. You know, I enjoyed Darkspire. I think it was not as fun to do the exact same instance like 200 times. It would have been nice if there's a little variety. But I don't really want to directly replicate that here. I think it'd be a lot cooler and probably a lot more like classic feeling, whatever that means. If we were to instead go back to existing overworld dungeons, think Mithra's Tomb, Nissy's Lair, you know, the Barrows, and anything like that, and actually convert them to have instanced level 51 plus versions of actually like script some encounters onto the bosses in there and basically turn them into the Darkspire of Atlas by just doing like instance PvE dungeons with actual boss fights based on classic encounters.
Yeah, I know. On live they did. I think it was after Catacombs. They had like if you go through any of the dungeons, you'd see like the side doors, and you could go in there, and it was like an instant. Whoever was with you could go in there. It was kind of like a branch off of
Oh yeah,
that
those little like
dungeon.
pocket dungeons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was always cool because you could always go in there and maybe get like different loot, and it was something different than if sitting in the dungeon killing wee wolves for 10 hours.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I did actually. I liked those back when they implemented them on live. I think they also have some problems with that. So, like for example, I wouldn't use that system as a leveling mechanic in the way that Live did it, just because similar to how like when you have the slash level, getting people up to 20, it kills the 1 through 20 leveling ecosystem and makes it feel like a dead world. If you have instance leveling dungeons available at any level, whatever you want, it also sort of contributes to making it feel like a dead world, because instead of seeing people at, you know, the Lunan Tishi farm or Parths or whatever, now everybody's in instances and you don't see anybody.
Right.
So it sort of like kills the vibe of the world if you have full instances. I think doing like an end game scaled thing that you're only in for like 20 minutes at a time would probably not have that same issue, thankfully.
Any epic dungeons for lobby areas?
Epic dungeons for lobby areas. Can you elaborate?
I just said epic dungeon of lobby area. Oh, I think he was going there. I'm gonna read this question, then I got to AFK real quick because somebody's knocking at my door.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
no worries.
the
I'll
option
just
for
freestyle with the chat.
yeah, love the option for a AB version of all dungeons for level 50 and marketplace a better filter option.
Oh, yeah, so marketplace stuff. That is an ongoing uh, entire process, really. So all of the Market Explorer stuff is client, or is like hard coded on the client. And so it's near impossible for us to change a lot of elements of that. And it also means that when Broadsword makes changes to their client, so like with the most recent 1.127 patch, they updated their client. They like changed the structure of the Market Explorer, broke the way that it normally sent messages between the client and the server, meaning every way that it worked before 1.127 didn't work anymore, which is why it's so broken at the moment. It's because this new patch from Broadsword has shattered the packet structure. We have to reverse engineer what they changed and what then we have to change on our side to get it to match correctly of what the client is now expecting. So it's like, and it probably sounded like a ton of technical jargon because it was. Short answer is that Broadsword broke some stuff. We have to reverse engineer it. We're working on reverse engineering it, but it's like a tricky process. So, Market Explorer is a thing. We're looking at it. We're looking at it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That was UPS for the wife. Um,
Right on.
anything else coming out for orbs? People have been talking about orbs are pretty much at this point, getting to the point where it's over. There's been so many raids done, and there's so many in there that people are even selling orb stuff in housing for 300 to 500 gold because it's just overabundance for some people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's. I mean, there's a few ways you can kind of try and tackle that issue. I think trying to deflate the orb count is not really feasible at this point, especially because people love running raids on our server. I don't know if it's because like Celestius just didn't have a ton, or like I think people are just really hungry for PVE in some fashion, and maybe that's contributing in some way. Anyways, I think the a good way to handle that would just adding based orb incentives, and that is something I've been very cognizant of when working on the conquest revamp. So basically, expect there to be some more based orb income sources soon. TM. Um, we, again, we can't really nerf the PVE side too heavily, just because it creates like a weird dichotomy of like, again, anybody joining now would be in a post punishment orb ecosystem where like I guess, like if we nerf city orbs from 25k to 15k, like all the people who've already profited from that and have their housing items don't care because they have all their orbs on. Anybody who's coming to join and wanting to get competitive can't get those orbs as easily. I mean, they could just go buy them, but it sort of creates like a weird disparity in rewards for people who got there early versus didn't. So it's not really something we can change easily. It's like small tweaks for PVE income.
Okay. On that note, is would there be anything where you could actually sell the orbs as opposed to, Haze Fest has tons of orbs and I'm like, hey, I want this sword, and he's like, okay, give me the money, and then he goes buys the sword and then sells it to me as opposed to just giving me 20,000 orbs.
Yeah, so I don't think we're going to have orbs be tradable directly like that.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's just I don't know. It sort of creates weird angles in the economy that just creates weird situations, to
Okay.
put it lightly. Um, but that said, we do still want you to be able to purchase an orb item or a skin you want. Someone has orbs already, so as you
Right.
say, like you can find someone that has that and just trade the plat for the item directly.
Can you give I guess I've never tried that. Can you give somebody an armor piece and they can change it for you? I guess I've never tried that.
Yeah, so actually, I'm working with one of our new devs,
Oh, okay.
Reskin Merchant, and so we actually have it set up so that you can like freely reskin and then trade around like 90% of the skins, and any of the skins that are like capstone achievements. So like, we have the dragon killing pack, for example. You kill one dragon, you get some unlocks for reskins. Kill five, you get some unlocks all the way up to 25. Uh, Once you hit that like 25 kill capstone, there's nowhere else to go. You got a cool. Anything from that maximum reward tier would be account bound. Sorry.
Okay.
Um,
So like
just
on
because we don't want people to like get to realm rank 10, get their cool class cloak, and then immediately sell that to like a realm rank 1 dude who does not have that prestige status and have him run.
oh yep, that's just what I was gonna say. Because I know during beta we had the rum rank, what, 2 and 5 and 9 and so on. That was basically character locked. Okay. ETA
Yeah,
on
so the
craft set.
reskins will. Sorry, good.
No, go ahead, answer yours.
Oh yeah, so those like character bound reskins will be going away, tradable now, other than a small subset.
Okay. We got from another one, ETA on craft set. We've hit this before.
Oh, yeah. So we're actually planning on reintroducing small faction again soon, probably in the next couple days. We sort of talked about it earlier, but craft set was one of the causes we believe the freezing that we were having. So not like crashes or lag, but like the actual deadlocks, everything free and like no one can log out or anything. That was likely asterisk caused by craft set. And you'll notice that since we've removed craft set, we've had way fewer of slash almost none. Um, so and as we mentioned earlier, like it's hard to test this sort of thing in a local environment because in a local one player a 1 millisecond ping, and when you're doing it on the actual server, there's 1,500 people and 200 millisecond ping. And so it's just like the difference in testing makes it very hard to get certain errors to show up correctly. But we think we have craft set in a mostly working spot. We don't think it'll cause freezes, so we're going to try reintroducing it. And if it's freezing again, we will try and fix it yet again.
Yeah, I know a lot of
So
people are waiting for that so they can finish crafting because they don't want to sit there and hit the button every 2 seconds when they can just
I do not blame them.
do 60 at a time and you know go do stuff. Um,
Yeah, go make a sandwich or something.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know, go do the laundry or whatever.
yeah.
It's usually what my wife tells me to do when I'm like, I'm gonna game, and she's like, well, make sure you do um, your honey-do list. Um, what about using orms to gamble rogs on an NPC?
Ooh, I like that idea. That's cool. That would be a good way to get some orbs out of the economy in a way that is not like strictly powerful. I don't really know how to phrase that, but like there's a random element to get a good reward, and you're still getting a bunch of economy. I think that's a good way to do it.
Right. And people see one person with a really good rog, and they're like, "How'd you do it?" "Oh, I gambled." "Oh, there goes 100,000." more orbs back into the system. Now
Yeah,
they
I
want
will
that
say.
really cool one.
Yeah, I will say a small caveat to that. We're definitely going to need to add more RVR orb sources before we introduce any gambling. Otherwise, people are just going to be doing so much more PVE.
Maybe
Like
you should make
orbs
that
to
part of
gamble.
the 2.0.
Yeah, I just might actually. We're in like the perfect primordial state of this, where I might be able to just graph that
Yeah.
without much issues. So
I mean,
good
it's not like you have enough
suggestion.
on your plate. Let's add some more. But no, that
Yeah,
would be
right.
really cool. I like that idea. So the next two questions are about the bounty system.
Okay.
What about upgrading the bounty system to accept orbs for player bounties? And any thought on increasing the timer for player bounties with the amount of currency for the players' heads? Because I think it's like an hour right now. I think they said. So there's your two questions from Ace Fest.
Okay. I love the idea of having. See, that's awesome. I like that a lot. I will push that one up the chain to Clayton. See what he says. Um, part two. So what was the second half of that? Oh,
Yes.
the duration. That's right. Yeah. So the yeah, I mean, I don't think it would hurt too much to increase the duration longer or like scale it based on the amount of coin that was spent. I I'd have to double check the bounty mechanics just to make sure, but I think that sounds good too.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty easy for a stealther to go gank a gray and then hide for an hour without being ever found. Or put a
Yeah,
locator on the
absolutely.
map where he is. Okay. He's
It's
right
just like a
here.
ping.
Like
Just like a
what was it when you on live when they brought out the relics? And anytime you had a relic, you'd glow. How about when you kill a lobby, you glow and it shows on the map?
I like that.
I like that
I'm
too.
into that. Dude, I
Um,
would love to do something like that for the predator system too, where just your predator target will have like a glow in the world somehow, so it's easier to or like alleviate the issue of like some stealthers being able to do predator hide
yeah,
forever. So
I thought Predator was fun on in beta. You know, it tells you where they are, who they are. It was I liked it. Um,
yeah, I really want to. I mean, it's sort of like in the backlog because I've said we're eight things so far, but like I would love to get a Predator 2.0 and like link that into Conquest more effectively somehow, or just get people engaged.
you could do the I know obviously on test there was like 6 people playing, but you could have it like group wise, where like 8 man says, "Yeah, we want a predator," and then they'll tell you where that 8 man is, and then another 8 man can go there, or obviously the Zerg. If you're gonna put yourself out there, anyone's gonna show up in that area, but it would kind of make it, I don't know, make it interesting for sure.
Yeah, no, it definitely is interesting. It's sort of like I always thought it would be cool as part of the Predator system if you got like a compass style ping thing, almost like a little mini built-in radar. Ooh, spicy
Right where when
margaritas.
the or yeah, if you could do it where like if you're in 200 or 300 area, your like health bar starts flashing or something, letting you know that they're close.
Yeah, or you get like a mid-screen pop-up that says like your prey is within 500 meters to the northwest or something, and then
Right.
you have to like figure it out.
Like I said on test, it was nice because there was only like 6 people. Now you put Predator on and you got who knows.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, so another Necro question. For this server settings, do you know what this server actually acquires for the summoning suit? Website has uh, Dex Quick and Resists on summoning suit versus the traditional summoning suit back in the day being con and hit points. There's some con.
I would have to double check the code to see exactly which things transfer off of. But does the website not do Constitution as well? I thought it did that one. But yeah, I think Dex and Resists are the ones that I'm familiar with, and I thought Constitution was in the mix too.
And Hayes wants you to turn his character into a weird model because you guys haven't done that in a while.
Okay, I can do that, but
All
it'll
right,
be when you're least expecting it.
right. um, Legrim said website does con, hit points, dex, quick, and resist.
Oh, gotcha. So you're saying back in the day we only had con HP, Dex Quick, and Resist. I would. I think that is intended that they get the Dex Quick Resists.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, I remember getting yelled at by my buddy who was farming on a necro, like, don't give me this buff or this buff. I just need this buff. And I'm like, you're just getting all of them. Shut up. I have a system.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm sure this is client side issue, but will Atlantis be able to fix the slash effect self and group options? We can only
Oh
have
yeah.
all or none right now.
You are right that that is sort of it's involving that client that we can't really modify. Our fix needs to reverse engineer some stuff for that to get in place. But yeah, I think a goal it would definitely be nice to have effects or slash effects rather work correctly. Especially because I'm pretty sure if you have effects on during raids, you'll just go link dead again from client restrictions. the They have some sort of variable in there that stores the effects, and if it gets too big, the client just explodes. And so if we get raids of like 200 people doing effects, that is what happens. It just explodes, and that's a client thing.
Right, that was like back in the day. Effects off, cloak off, first person shooter, head down.
Yeah, stare at the
Like,
ground. Nobody. Yep. Back on my 56K. Yeah,
yeah,
I remember that.
on dial up and it's just screaming at you.
Yeah. Uh, I don't really miss those days. I mean, I had a 56K up until like 2008. It was way later than it should have been.
Yeah, I remember just getting in a ML3 raid, which was long enough anyways, and like
Oh, Jesus.
halfway through, someone would come in and be like, "I need to use the phone," and it's like, get in the car and go visit them,
Yeah. It might be faster than this raid.
right? Or Rome
Uh,
ranks or ML, was it one or two? Sitting there with like 200 or 300 people waiting for everyone to get through their solo step because no one did it before.
oh my God. I forgot
Yeah,
about that
I don't.
solo step.
Yeah, and then it came
Yeah.
to raid leaders were like, whoever's here, if you do not have the solo step, you can do it after, or when they'd say like 8 o'clock tonight, we're doing ML1 or two, whichever one it was. Go right now and do your solo steps because we're not stopping. Like it was.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we
Oh,
just
man. I
wasted like
gotta say,
three
I
hours
do.
waiting for everyone to do their solo step.
Yeah, for as annoying as those raids, the like sandpaper on the psyche that it was to get ML10, I do kind of miss running around those giant TOA, just like doing artifacts and stuff. I thought the PVE side of that was fun for what it
Yeah,
was.
I think if they would have brought it out different, not to get on a TOA run, because most
Let's
people
do
are
it. Let's
like,
pop off.
we're not playing this server because they have TOA, and there's a lot of cool thing. Being a solo stealther, TOA
Hmm.
was great because of Mez Poison. It was
Oh
like the
yeah,
greatest
Mez
one.
poison.
Um, but if they would have brought it out where obviously hindsight's always 2020 and they lost a lot of people because of it, but the like going on a raid and you want something like artifacts, and then it would drop one artifact and you had to roll on it. So
Hmm.
you could go on 100 Shades of Mist raids and never get Shades of Mist because you didn't roll right. Um,
Yeah.
you know, or farming 3 of 3 for 8 hours and then somebody comes in and goes, "Can I do one pull?" and they get 9 of them.
Yep.
This is like, I really. Um, Let me join
Oh
your
my God,
group.
I
Um,
remember farming centaurs in Ares Plateau for
yep,
fucking ever.
underwater. That one you did underwater. Oh, my character just disappeared. Oh
Oh,
no,
steady,
my
steady.
pet. Steady, come back. No, don't crash on my feet. Um, Killed it. Um, but yeah, some of the farming this and that was Rip my craft
Oh,
session.
it's our
Um,
daily backup. Yep. Okay. It's right on
wait,
time.
I recovered. Yeah, everything came back.
Yeah. Should be good. Should be good now.
Cool.
So you know what that was? That was we have our daily database backup that happens at like midnight UTC, and I think that just happened. So that lag spike was from our database backing. Sorry, everybody.
All right, whatever you want to call it.
Blame broadsword, client
Right?
restrictions, 1.65, Mark Jacobs.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. Um,
it's their fault.
and then of course once you get it, you're super happy that you get it, and then you got to level it, which took enough. That was, yeah. If they would have brought it out differently, I don't think as many people would hate it, and as many people left because, like you said, the instances, the dungeons, the fights, the the whole concept of TOA was really cool. Just getting anything from TOA was painful.
Yeah, the time grind was just so absurd for
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, if they had
And
done some sort of account wide progress paired with, any sort of token currency system to just buy the things that you're
like
eventually
they
would have been huge.
yeah, like they did later on.
Yeah.
After they're like, "Oh, by the way, if you want anything, you can buy them with bounty points." And it's like this was a year and a half too late. Like
Yeah, exactly.
um so I'm just waiting to see everyone's like, "Rip my crafting session." Wait, I recovered. Ace Fest said that's a backup. Uh,
It's back up now.
yep, it didn't go down.
Am I right?
Yeah. So just kind of waiting to see if anyone else has any questions. So while we're waiting, obviously, anything else you wanna? We kind of veered off with the TOA part, but um, anything that's coming out that you're super excited about, or that you can diverge to us?
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally really excited for Conquest 2.0. I think that will hopefully start driving our in some interesting ways that is not just everybody to a main. So I'm pretty excited for that and to see if it actually even functions as I'm expecting it to. That'll also be. And then the singular biggest thing that I am excited for, as far as like just seeing where it goes, would be that instancing that I was talking about, where one of our devs was able to get like his own unique instance of a dungeon up and running locally. I think the fact that we were able to get that working means we can unlock quite a bit of interesting stuff if we want to. So it's like we've unlocked a new tool, and I'm very excited to use it.
So you can kind of put a little customization into, and still keep it as close to 165 as you can, not overbearing everything.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the goal in all things is to try and embrace 1.65, amplify it rather than.
Oh, you kind of lagged out of there while you were
Oh,
talking
sorry. Yeah,
that sentence.
the goal is to take the aspects of 1.65 that are appealing and like a benefit, and then amplify those and sort of polish up the rough edges of 1.65 in a way that is not. It doesn't replace elements, but it rather like improves the bad stuff and makes it like a cumulative additive experience rather than like OF with some NF stuff grafted on custom changes. It'd be better if it felt like old frontiers with the rough edges polished. You know.
Right. And something more for the 50s to do to get better gear and templates. On on templates, um, when you get, I believe, items break here, correct? Is there
I believe so. Yeah.
is there any, holy crap, huge question just came out.
Awesome.
I was like, holy crap. Um, but is there, like, on Phoenix, once you got the template, you had it forever. Like it would go down in com, but it would never actually break. Um, on here, you get a great template, everything's working, and then 5 months from now, that item will break and the stats won't affect you anymore. Correct?
Yeah, I do believe we have things dropping durability Constitution and breaking eventually currently. Although I will admit I don't know the time span it takes for something to fully break. I have not tested that. But
Okay,
I
so it
do
could
believe it
be
will.
a long time from
Yeah,
having
it
to
could
worry
be. I
about it,
mean,
basically.
I'm not really sure. Yeah, I mean, so on that note, really, I'm not even on full destruction of stuff. Like if the time frame's long enough, I think it's probably a good thing because it stimulates the economy on a larger having to do more orb stuff and like find another crafter to make you a piece that broke or something. But that said, it also fucking sucks to lose your item after you've had it for like 6 months. Like I don't want to have to like re-template
It was a
after
great
I've got.
gem, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, especially if it's like a perfect ROG for your thing and it breaks, what do you do now? You can't re-spellcraft that. You got to redo the and that kind of stuff. So I don't really know where I land.
Okay. Um, they still say I'm too quiet. I'm listening. Oh, okay. I'll try and talk louder. I'll probably use my mic next time. Um, so what about repeatable endgame epic quests, like monthly, where we have multiple different steps, where each step completed will allow you to pick a variable stat of a chosen skill stat slash resist on an NPC held ROG until all 5 or 6 are completed, resulting in a high utility custom made rogue with medium to high rolls. The NPC will veil the mobs from the players until the final step when they receive the item.
There's a lot at play there. I think
Hmm.
I like the broad strokes of it in that you have like a large scale repeatable quest with like targetable utility rogue rewards. I mean that sounds cool. Um, it, I think we'd have to talk with the team as far as like what a specific implementation of that might look like. But I think the general notion of having repeatable monthly tasks for some larger scale rewards is something we actually added an RVR quest a week or two ago, and that is you could view that as like the first of a few probably.
And then playing on that, he says the veil, the ROG rolls until the player collects the item. And then steps like kill the dragon, clear SI, kill 500 yellow plus mobs, kill 300 plus players, capture X amount of keeps, kind of like the almost like the what did we do in beta for like the last month to get the title and stuff and the
Oh yeah,
where it
yeah, all
was
the
like
like
go
RVR
take this
tasks.
relic, go, but instead of getting a title you get the random gear.
Yeah, I mean it's a cool thought. It reminds me of like World of Warcraft style legendary items almost, where you'd have like expansion long quest lines that were to upgrade a single item up to a certain point. Uh, it sort of is like whispers of that in that you'd all month long to build up to your ROG reward, and then at the end of the month you see like just how good. So it's like a monthly legendary.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
He said we need more vanity pets.
Oh, brother, I got vanity pet. Oh, yo, I was just waiting for somebody to ask. You got it. We
Server's
got
coming down
so
for a
many
quick
pets.
patch.
Yeah, 300 pets added. No, we got lots of ideas for vanity pets, and we have a framework to add them pretty easily. So yes, I love that idea.
We got wolves, we got ferrets, we got oh yeah, all kinds of ideas for you.
Yeah.
How so we have you can use orbs for respecs. Anything in the pipeline for respecing your race, your class, your gender, your
Yeah, that's like a stretch goal, I'd say for that. We like the idea of being able to do that for sure, but once you start involving races and stat respecs, it gets way more technical than just resetting the skill lines. And this even ties into like the ongoing issue with the character starting stats not being correct. Like once you get into stat changes, especially across different level bands, like it gets very complex very quickly. So yes, it's something we want to do, but it's something we'd have to like some time to figure out, and we haven't done that yet.
Okay. And they put how about names also? So that kind of goes with the
Um,
whole.
yeah, I think that's the same situation. Like it's technically plausible to have a name respec stone, but it would also include some new technical considerations that we haven't come across yet for like checking existing names. That so I like the idea, but probably like a longer term resolution.
Okay, and then he said, why not make a stat respec stone to have the players fix stats themselves? Is that kind of in the.
Well, yeah, that goes back to the technical stuff. So, like, when you give the race spec stone to an NPC, what happens? We have to figure out the right way to have the NPC set you the right stats for your specific race, and then give you the right number of stats to spend, and like, it's just a whole technical process.
I'm waiting for the. What about the gender neutral stones? Um, how about mounts? Horse, our own.
Oh,
Um,
that's something I would have to check with the team on to give a hard answer. I will say personally, as a player, I don't really like mounts, but I understand some people do. So
well, can we at least
something we
get the
might talk about.
horses that we ride not make us sick from all the movement? Um,
I
there's a
can
few of
try.
them in L, but you get on the horse and you're just like, I can't even look at the screen. Like they stutter and they kick to the side and then they go this way and then all of a sudden you're going this way and it's like, what? Okay, I got the drunk horse. Um,
Jeez,
yeah,
that sounds terrible.
it's actually it's the one from CS. I believe it's the one to CS. When you're going down towards the bridge, all of a sudden he just like, I don't know. Yeah, I did it a couple times. I'm like, you know what? I'm just running. Um, mounts, static respect. What about buffers in towns where craft? So there's a question on here, but me and Hayes have talked a few times, so I'm gonna add to this one. Um,
Okay.
what about buffers in towns where crafting areas are? For example, like a couple strength buffs on a 10 to 15-minute duration.
Oh, so like adding some buff NPCs to like existing ones that have crafting spots.
Right. Well, mostly because like when you sit there and craft, especially once auto craft comes back in, you sit there and you do 40 weapons and then you go to sell them and all of a sudden you're like stuck.
Yeah, encumbered as hell.
And
Yeah,
then you
I hear
either
you.
have to drop the item, which you can usually run back and pick it back up, but then depending on how many bags have fallen, you could be encumbered again and repeat.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not opposed to adding some quality to the classic towns. The only thing that comes to mind there is that we would not, I almost guarantee you, it would not be added to the like RVR crafting keep where you get the bonus to speed. We probably would not have a strength buffer out there just because someone could get strength and then just leave the keep and go RVR. So
You
probably
could
not
have
out
it where
there.
it
But in like,
disappears on port.
yeah, true. Yeah, I'm not opposed to putting something in the interior classic only town, though, for sure.
Okay. I'll come back to that second part on that one. Um, could we schedule a meet with a GM and say reset my name and then log out and log back in? So could I message you and be like, hey, can you change my name? And you just do it because you're cool.
Just ping Clay in general chat.
Okay, perfect.
No, don't do that. He'll yell at me.
I'll have to walk.
No,
Now I have to go through this video in hour 2 and edit that part out because otherwise Clay will be. They'll just hear that and all of a sudden, ping, 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 ping.
yeah, someone sent him just that clip. But no, for real, if you need a name that, file an appeal in the Discord, and one of the mods can probably help you out.
Okay. Um, on the buffer, um, since they brought that up, me and Hazefest, it was his idea, not mine. I'm not taking credit. But is there a way you could take one of the towns and make it to where like everything is in one section? Like Albion, if you want to alchemy, it's on. You get the merchant here, and you got to run through almost all of Albion to get to the merchant, and then you come back. Which alchemy isn't that bad because if you get encumbered with alchemy, I don't, I maybe. Um, and then there's other not exploits, but ways to set your character to where you're on one side where the merchant is, and on the other side of the wall is the crafting table. And if you aim just right, you don't have to move. Um, with all the towns and everything in SI, mainland, all of that, is there any thought, or could there be any thought, where if you go to the alchemy table, both alchemy merchants are right there? So there's no like running from here to here to here to here. You can just sit down, bring up your merchants, craft your stuff on each um, thing you're
Yeah,
crafting.
no, I hear what you're saying for sure. That's something I would want to check with the others on. I know they placed things very specifically to try and recreate the 1.65 world as it stood, at least as much as they could get it that accurate. And to that end, I think they wanted to try and recreate the classic experience of having the different material available at each sort of thing. In practice, everybody just crafts in Camelot. So,
Right. I mean, you could just make
um,
it in the city, but just make Haze Fest obviously realized I was stumbling over my words because he said craft like crafting hubs.
yeah, I mean, there's certainly value in that as far as like quality of life and ease of crafting for sure. Um, the downside is that once you make a spot like that, no other location in the game is ever as good of a spot to craft as that, and everybody goes there with no consideration of like, do I want to go to the RVR spot for better speed, or do I want to go to this one spot that has a table near the merchant or whatever. It's just like I'm going to the crafting hub. That's it.
You can make a
Um,
rotating system where each spot has like a 5 to 10% speed increase every couple of hours it moves. That would suck if a keep was being under attack. Um,
like, oh shit, it's in a main. Oh
right?
no.
Dang it. Um, any okay, I like this one. What about a summoning stone outside or inside a dungeon? Um, to summon lazy players from across the world. The receiving players would get a summoning pop-up saying you are being summoned. Do you accept?
I personally like that idea. I don't know if the team would go for it because it feels a lot more like World of Warcraft than it does Dark Age necessarily. But personally, me, Fenn, the person, I like that idea a lot because there's a ton of lazy people who don't even want to hop on a horse to run to the dungeon. So,
Right.
I mean, let's make it easy for him, brother.
You have a group, yeah, especially like if you're in DF and you know you die, if they actually stay and continue playing and not go, oh, I got a log. Um, run down to us. You pop that summoner and you pull them right over. I think that, especially if they're lower levels, because running through some of that stuff, I just use DF as an example, but
Yeah,
in
actually, I don't know if I would allow it in DF just because that has like restricted entry thing. So I don't know
okay,
if
let's
that's
use a
someone
different.
teleport
Yeah,
class. But
I
like,
just
yeah,
thought
no, I
about
get what you're
that
saying.
too.
Like if it was like Nissy's lair or something, and someone's in like Ager Hammond and they don't want to run, you
Hazefest
could
just
teleport him.
Hazefest just killed me in RVR, and he's right here. Here, let me port you in.
Yeah, exactly. Let me port the whole guild in.
Right. Hazefest is on his caster, and all of a sudden 900 elves appear right on top of me. Um,
Yeah, I like it for PVE only dungeons. I like.
yeah, that would put the paying for somebody's summoning on pretty good. What about a market explorer in castle keeps, i.e., castle sauvage, so you don't have to port housing and then back, etc. Putting up another
Um,
market explorer.
That's an interesting idea, actually. I'd consider that. I'd probably tie it to realm loyalty or something like that. I think, part of the root issue of that annoyance is that you don't want to have to wait for the porter at Castle Savage to port you to housing and wait up to 2 minutes for you to go there. So that sort of also ties back to what I was talking about. we can break apart realm porting versus interior porting, and like maybe put a second teleporter thing in this castle itself and like break those apart.
Yeah, we talked
And
about
that
that
might make
earlier.
it less annoying.
Yeah, which is a good idea. A 2 minute wait on going back to RVR is one thing, but if that 2 minutes is just started and I want to get to my house, it kind of sucks having to wait. Um,
Yeah, or like you're waiting for a crafter to do something for you in Camelot, but missed the port because you forgot your stupid necklace, and now you have to
neck
wait two
check.
more minutes to go to Camelot. Yeah, God, that neck check, man. I
Oh,
fail it all the time.
that was the worst. Especially when you're everyone in group or PG is like, put your neck on, put your neck on. You're like, yep, yep, yep. And then they go to port and everyone disappears but you.
Yep. You're
You're
like,
like,
well,
well,
if,
see you in 10.
if
Um,
only someone had told me.
you know, God, if you guys would have reminded me, as your chat is like full of it. Um,
Yeah.
added has adding base RPs for all keep takes slash defenses been discussed. It would get more people out into the frontier a lot more.
Oh yeah, yeah. We actually did talk about that a bit. You can check the VOD earlier for like Conquest 2.0 talk, but I'm working currently on Conquest system that we have, um, and it will involve base RPs for keep takes and defenses. I think we got some really interesting keep defense incentives, and more importantly, rather than having it be such an open-ended fight anywhere on the frontiers and capture objectives thing, instead, with the rework, the conquest objectives will all be focused around a single keep and the area around that keep. Um, and I use area kind of loosely, probably like 15,000 units. So it's not like right around the keep, but in the general vicinity. Um, and ideally, by changing it to a single conquest point, it should hopefully drive traffic from all three realms to that one point and create some nice conflict rather than having it be spread out and everybody just going to a main instead.
Okay. How about let's see. I think I'll guild banners and
Oh yeah, okay. So banners on wait, yeah. A lot of the like object customizations, like housing guild banners, key banners and stuff, are all issues with the client. I'm going back to the broadsword blaming. They broke the
were they
client
package
package
broadsword back
structure
then?
in their
Wasn't that pure mythic, or did
That's the
they
thing.
already
So
sell
like,
back then?
so yeah, some of the changes are different, but the new issues we've encountered with the client being broken are all fault because it's something they did in the most recent patch, like a month or two ago.
Oh well, all right, let's blame them then.
Yeah, blame away.
How about adding more master trainers to fronts? F FZ keeps with teleporters. Now, if you want to respec, you have to go to the main city. Is there any thought
Yeah,
of bringing more master trainers out, like in certain towns or the portal keeps or anything?
that one's kind of a touchy subject across the team. I can definitely see the advantage a respec trainer in Castle Side. Like, that's a very clear benefit for sure. But the reason why it doesn't exist already is I think the world builders wanted to drive traffic to places other than just having everyone sit in the portal keep forever. So like having the trainers be in Camelot, and it sort of like recaptures that classic-ish feel. And I know we have a master trainer in there, so it's like a weird amalgamation. Um, I'm just rambling at this point. It's some world builder stuff. I like the idea. It's not there for a reason at the moment, but that doesn't mean it can't change.
Okay. How about keep banners? Um, you can never tell what realm owns a keep until you get up to the guards. Is there a way to give us some like, oh, elves own this. We're not just gonna rush up there and not know.
Yeah, so I can think of some ways where we could do that technically. It would take a little bit of work, but it is sort of related to work I'm already doing for the conquest system that involves some keep banner style things. So I might look at that while I'm working on this and see if I can get something in there.
I thought they used to have like flags or something on the posts on the corners. I can't
Yeah, didn't
remember.
they like show guild emblems or something if
Yeah,
they
it
were
was a
claimed?
guild emblem, and then it also had like Hibernia, Midgard, Albion kind of flag right next to it. So you could like
Yeah.
from as far as you can see the keep, you could see the red or green or blue or slash realm. Yeah, that works too. Um,
I
let's see.
guess, but who wants to type?
Yeah, like I'm running up to this keep. I don't want to stop and I want to suicide. Um, back to realm loyalty. Quicker port access for loyal thresholds, i.e., 50% loyalty gets shorter port timers.
Actually, that is something I had considered as well, and is something I actually do want to do. So, I mean, this may not be quite the answer they're looking for, because I think that question is driven by wanting to get back to 45-second port times instead of 2 minutes. But um, I like the idea behind that. And I think I'd actually go the other direction of making it a longer port time if you don't have realm loyalty in 2 minutes, if you do, because the reason why that time is extended is sort of like a balance decision with influx of people to other realms, and so we can't just shorten that with no consideration because it does have a balance impact if we do that. So I think I would keep it a little longer, but also make it take even longer if you're not realm loyal.
Okay. Just realm loyalty. That's the biggest part. I think it adds a
I
lot.
I when in doubt, just bolt something to realm loyal has been my strategy. It's
I
just
think when we first I say we like I had any part of it. I was just in beta. Um, but when you guys
yeah,
brought out
contributed.
the realm loyalty and you got to basically you did your two charges and that was it. Like you never had to worry about them again. Like nothing else mattered to me at that time. It was like as soon as I got realm loyalty and I could put up my strength con dex quick and I never had to wait for that timer again. That was enough to make me stay in one realm.
Hell yeah, that's great news. That is 100% why I added. It's like I was brainstorming like what are good enough incentives that'll get people to not just realm hop anyway. And like straight QOL stuff like that, I think is an awesome thing to put behind realm loyalty, because that's stuff you can't recreate by just realm hop, getting more RPs or whatever. It's like it's a tangible benefit that you just can't get unless you're loyal.
Yeah. Well, in beta we could have like obviously we got the Atlas cloak and gem, so all of our stats were fine. So we could have
Yeah.
three or four of them going at a time. Obviously that was a little too overpowered, so it got tamed down a little bit. And then you had to have it in your template, which isn't always the easiest thing to do. Sometimes you got to sacrifice a couple things so you can get that strength con, but it's
Yeah,
definitely
I mean
raised.
I will say the design of the restrictions was made without the realization that the Albion Strength Cloak charge item is complete trash. I did not realize it was so bad. Um, so yeah, we're aware of that too.
There's a few items where in beta I was looking at it going, what the hell am I gonna do with this?
Yeah,
Like charisma, I'm on a inf. Does that help my dots? Um,
yeah, it's like a 21 utility cloak and 10 of it's charisma. It's just like Jesus.
yeah.
It's,
But I have strength con, so that's all that matters. Um,
yeah,
and we talked about the realm hopping and the relics. Um, how you guys are looking into that because yeah,
yeah,
I mean the other day somebody did a picture of the realm and it was like 185, 200, and 450. I was like, oh my god, all those
yeah.
people that complained all through NET, all through beta and everything about doing the run, obviously do not care about the run right now because they have the relics.
Yeah,
Um,
right. Actually, looking at our population at this exact moment, it looks like Albion is way ahead of the other two. What
that's
is
because
happening?
Pol Pomio is back. Pomo.
Oh, Palemo's back. Nice.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
he's giving it a shot. after saying he never would.
I actually got intel this morning that one of the big decided to move to Midgard.
Oh, you
So,
completely broke up when you were saying that.
oh damn it! I got intel this morning that one of the big Hibernian guilds is decided to move to Midgard. So things may be naturally balancing a bit.
Cool. I
Yeah.
gotta get to 50. Power level, you're on Elb, right? Come help me get a group. I'm a minstrel and I can't get a group. Actually, I've been
uh,
on this feed for like 2.5 hours now.
so actually, sorry, real quick to answer what you said about the relics. Yeah, we are planning on reworking that a bit, both with considerations for needing realm loyalty to gain the full benefit of the relics to hopefully alleviate realm hops that way. Also, perhaps scaling the benefit of the relic based on overall population of the realm. So, like if your realm is very overpopulated, maybe your relics don't do as much as if they were underpopped. And then also, let's see those two. Oh, and then third would be a scaled reward after capture. So maybe the first day after capture, you have the full 10% bonus to your power output or strength output, whatever. Day 2, it goes down to 7.5. Day 3, it goes down to 5. Day 4 onwards, it's 2.5% until it's recaptured. So, like, letting you do a victory lap off of a fresh capture and then still scaling it down to a port where it's not totally crazy.
So playing a little bit of devil's advocate with that one. Do you see that becoming a problem where people like once it hits like so when it's full loyalty that day you're at 50 say you're at 50% damage because you have all the relics and that day everybody's defending because they want to keep it. But once it gets down to like 2 or 3% or it's null and void, do you see any backlash where people are like, let's go take the relic, and the other realm's like, take it. It's not giving us anything now.
I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. We are working on some defense incentives, which I think I mentioned earlier, that hopefully will keep it interesting and appealing for people to go and defend the relic, even if it's at 2.5%.
Right, something that'll still keep them. And obviously, you're not the only one who's heard that news about some hip group going over because there's a bunch of people who are just like, yep, 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 yep.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
yeah. Um,
Hey, what's up, boys?
which would be nice because Hib kind or Hib mid kind of at the point where I watch other people's streams and it was for a while there was always raids going on and not much RBR, but for the last I'd say week or so, maybe a little longer, it's been farming or a few RVRing, but all the raids and everything else has come to a complete stop. Not on Hib. Hib Hib's crazy. They RVR and PvE and they do a little bit of everything where mid
They're
has
going
just
wild
been
over
like,
there.
yeah, it's that's absolutely crazy. Um,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it goes back to just having the right incentive structure in different areas. I think we went way too hard on PVE orb rewards and did not have enough RVR orb rewards to compensate, and so people just flocked to PVE to gear their characters when they could have had like a decently good shot at gearing their character through RVR. So yeah, hopefully better rewards tied to RVR stuff and conquest.
right where you're not strictly like I need to go on 4 raids so I can get 50,000 or however many orbs you get. You can kind of get out in RVR and have some fun too.
Yeah,
Um,
because like no one really wants to go out and get killed and feel like they don't have their full template, so they're lacking power, and that's why they got killed. And it just is like a negative space to be in. So a lot of people, they don't RVR at all until they have a, which means they're doing PVE raids for 3 weeks with zero RVR.
yeah, so they go out a good template, but now they got to compete against Realm rank fives. They're Realm rank
Yeah,
fives.
yeah, exactly. And then they're on the back foot there too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What if Atlas made? Oh, Jesus. What if Atlas? You didn't have any plans tonight, did you? because I didn't think that.
I got time.
Um,
I could probably got like 30 more minutes and then I got it.
okay, then we'll call it yes. Because if I don't get something done in this house, my wife's gonna be like, "What'd you do?" I'll be like, "I was talking to people in Dark Age," and she's like, "You're a dork." Um, what if Atlas made events where players can RVR in NF environment for like a week or something? A taste of new for once in a while. Kind of a slippery slope. Probably be a hard no, but is there any could could you do like hey, obviously it would not be too often, but like hey, we're gonna give you a little bit of NF, um, just a taste of it, but we're going back to OF.
I will say yes, but
Yes, but
so I like that idea. I think doing events that are flavored around different aspects of Dark Age that we don't have access to at 1.65 sounds fun and cool and really interesting. Like doing a Mordred weekend would be awesome. Doing a New Frontiers weekend sounds pretty awesome. Um, all of that said, uh, we still need to be very cognizant of when and how we do events, because as we talked about earlier with Phoenix and their proving ground event, like once you start having events, it becomes much easier for people to not do normal game activities because they're for an event to happen dead.
we'll just wait for the next
So,
event.
exactly. So it's like, maybe we have a New Frontiers event weekend and gain a few hundred people playing in it, but then for the next couple weeks after we lose 50 or 100 of those couple hundred, I don't want to go back to old.
Right. I'll just wait till NF the next time. And that's to me that kind of seems like the server initially knowing like we're on the end tail of it. Um, because it seemed like even Phoenix and a couple other servers that I played on, it was like, oh, we're losing people. We can't come up with anything else to get new people. Let's throw out an event. And then, a server that has 60 people throughout the week now all of a sudden has, 500. And they're like, oh, cool. But then as soon as the event's over, it goes back. Maybe a few stay. Even Broadsword does that with their comeback to Caledonia. Like,
Oh yeah.
they have 100 to 200 people all through the week, and they bring out Welcome Back to Caledonia, and kaboom, they have 5,000 people for that weekend, and then they leave and they go up to 300. It's like, it's the, it almost feels like it's the trial of is our server going to be deleted or
Yeah.
are we, going to peak again?
Yeah, and it's like it's a really dangerous because every peak that you get from a weekend event, your valley afterwards will be lower than a. So it's like it's always going to be a short-term gain for the event and then a fall afterwards. Um, all that said, I think there's a lot of cut out again. Sorry.
Yep, you cut out.
I think there's a lot of really cool stuff that is possible to be done on Atlas. Um, the instance PV stuff is like a long-term goal that I think is really fun and cool to integrate. I think doing events like this would be a ton of fun, especially if we can find a way to have them be um, kind of non-impactful to the normal ecosystem. So maybe I don't even know what it would look like. This is completely hypothetical. So this is not what we're doing. But like, if for example, if we spun up like a side server for a weekend that had New Frontier or Mordred rule set or whatever,
Kind of like connecting
maybe
the
you can like
PPR server.
yeah, like maybe you can copy your character from actual Atlas onto the weekend server, do the weekend thing, maybe earn a fun title from it, and then at the end of the weekend, all you get to keep is the title. Like none of the RPs or anything still. I don't know if that would be functional or not, but that might be a way to do those events without having
Actual your character being progressed so much farther than somebody who has the weekends off as opposed to me who I can't miss a weekend because that's like prime time for my job.
Yeah.
They come out 3 realm ranks higher, and I'm sitting there like, well, at least I got to play for a little bit. I like,
Yeah, exactly.
and
You both
seriously, you'll
play
have
for
like ten
like,
thousand people log on for a freaking title. People are crazy about titles. Um,
do okay. So I mean, this is getting into some weeds of technical stuff that's not at all on the table. But I thought it'd be super cool if, as like an answer to seasonal stuff, because the entire goal of seasonal dark is to like fix that terminal point we talked about earlier. Where you have characters like feeding on everything. Um, that's the end state of the server where new players can't join anymore, and you start to like cascade into failure because you're not getting anybody new. Um, Seasonal stuff fixes that in a way, but so you never have roll cycle too long. It is certainly one way to handle it. I think it'd be cooler if you had a way to turn in characters or prestige them. So, like, say I get my minstrel to realm rank 8 or 10 or whatever. I'm like,
Not if you keep
all
deleting
right,
them.
yeah, like, yeah, well, that's certainly a way to prestige. Just delete YS. Um, but you know, if there was like an RP turn in and set you back to realm rank 1, 0, but you get a cool title, or like, you know, instead of your character being D-stap, you're now D-stap the second, and you get like a little numeral appended on or something. Some sort of visual prestige thing that could be kind of fun to, I don't know.
Kind of like,
There's something.
so like the during beta we had the hardcore, where once you hit 50 you could turn it in and get a hardcore beetle or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, like that. Except instead of losing the character entirely, it just gets reset back to realm rank 1, and you get, you know, a title appended to you or something. Something like a unique prestige only title to make it appealing.
Right. So Hazefest says, "Hear me out. What
Okay.
about a hardcore solo RVR event starting at level 1? Kill others for your gear. Last man standing gets bragging rights. Characters are deleted afterwards. It'll be filled with chaos and NPCs, DAOC Battle Royal."
That is hilarious because I have been joking in the general chat with Fade Me about a DAOC Battle Royale for months. And I legitimately think I have the schematic for one planned out in a way that a shitload of fun. So I actually do have ideas for a Dark Age Battle Royale. Um, it would probably be something, yeah, as Hayes described, hardcore solo, like only solo. If you die, you're out of the battle royale, of course. Um, Something where you like PVE speeds are rapidly increased, so you can level up pretty quick, like a really quick pace, and you get your gear that way. You can kill people and take their gear. You know, get to level 50 in a realm rank, and you get a extra chicken dinner or something. I don't know. There's definitely something in the something a lot of fun to mess with.
Yeah, and we might as well have some fun. This game does have its times when it gets pretty stagnant. Um,
Yeah.
so, doing something that is fun and rewarding in a sense, but not overall gameplay changing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, exactly.
and Macrell would like to turn in his realm rank 13 paladin and become a troll paladin.
Sorry, you got to learn how to code to become a troll.
There you go. Hazefest is still waiting for you to turn him into something. I don't know if he's in game or not, but just wait till he's out to RVR and turn him into a big dragon so everyone knows where he is.
There you go. Just let him run around.
Yeah. What about a new BG that is Mordred like? And what everyone talks about having a Mordred something. Like everyone remembers how cool Mordred was, where it's just doing everything. And,
Yeah,
Macrell
I
knows
mean,
hyphen HTML. So
oh, wait, put him in. Troll
yeah,
Paladin on in the mail, sir.
just put a little plus plus behind that, and you're good to go.
There you
Um,
go. But
do
no,
you
I do. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
do you feel like title hate you Fenn title HML? Okay. Um, do you
All
feel like
rescinded.
the player base as a whole today, 2022? could handle a Mordred type server. Because I remember
Uh,
back in the day when Mordred came out, if you didn't have thick skin, you were deleting. Like it's hardcore. And um, what's your? That's what I always think of when I think of player base. I mean, I know most of the player base is just the same, just we're older. But I mean, people blow up Discord and probably your chat when somebody gets ganked on a level one. Like, would you make Mordred but kind of have it a little separated? Because obviously, the first time somebody dies, gets ported back to their Bind Stone, and then they get ganked again and again and again and again. Holy crap.
yeah, I mean, I'm getting minor cold sweats just thinking about the Discord environment of a Mordred server in
Just leave the
2022.
server,
Like,
make your own.
yeah, God, I'm getting like a little stressed out just thinking about that. But
Just
I
make sure
do,
left axis set right.
yeah, there you go. I'll just I'll put left axe back to like pre 1.62 and just let him wild.
Oh, that would be great.
Good.
Just two shot and everything.
There we go.
I remember
No
back then
tears in the Discord from that, I'm sure.
I would I had a shadowblade. That was back when if you PA'd somebody and you one shot them, you stayed stealth,
Oh yeah.
and there wasn't this um stealth detection. Like I could literally stand on top of somebody and they wouldn't see me. Like there was no finding me. And I'd walk up to a group who was sitting at like AMG, PA their caster, walk around, come back, PA their next caster, walk around, come back, and decide who I wanted to take on next. Um, because you
That's
just
great.
stayed stealth, and that was with a two-hander on SB. But then at that same point, PA would hit for however much damage. But then you turn around
Yeah.
and you double frost somebody, and you get the same effect because double frost was hitting just as hard as my PA.
Jesus.
It would, yeah. Dude, you didn't mess with SBs back then because if they
Yeah.
were a two-hander and they PA you, they just keep walking and no one would know what happened. Their group would just fall apart. And if you attacked
Yeah.
first, they just double frost three times and you're dead because they're hitting for like 200 to 300 damage per hand, and you're just
Jesus.
done. That's why most assassins back then also had IP on top of everything else they had. Like,
Yeah.
no, you do not. People are like, I want pre. No, you don't. Do you think you cry about assassins now? Wait till I take out half your team and you don't know where I am.
Oh God, yeah. I read stories about people would like climb up on the battlements and just walk down the caster line, just one shot PA onto the next one shot PA onto the next one, and
Yep.
just like,
I
yeah.
think back then on my Shadowblade, the only person I wouldn't try attacking was a Smite Cleric because they would rip you
Man,
apart.
got the fart
It,
maze.
oh, that and it was there was no immunity to it. So you'd run up to a cleric, they'd do their AoE mez, run, turn around, stun you, smite you for more um than a wizard would nuke you for, and then you'd get up to them and then they'd mez you again and just repeat. Their smite was hitting for 500 to 600 damage, which bolts weren't even
Jesus.
hitting for that much. Oh, I
Yeah,
had so
fair
much
and
fun on my
balanced.
smart cleric.
Yeah, I
So
bet.
fun.
Uh,
Let's see. People
so,
PQ over left
so
axe.
to answer your question on the Mordred server, because I never actually said if that would be feasible or not, I think it would actually be an interesting ad, but I think it would have to be contained just to like weekend style event or something. Something like we talked about where there's no actual progression tied to it. It's just a fun thing to do weekend and maybe earn a title.
Right. You'd have to have a pop up like if you go to buy vape or cigarettes on a website and they ask like, "Are you 18?" Have that pop up for the Mordred server like, "Are you a are you a whiner? Hit yes or no."
Yeah. Can you mentally handle this server?
Right? Do you
Yes
need a
or no?
safe space? um,
Yeah.
let's see. I want Atlas to make a custom dungeon called Developer Hell and replace the trash mobs with whiny players based on the dev team where they're all bosses. Oh,
I like that. I like that. Maybe that'll be one of the instances.
right. It'd be funny to make a Hall of Shame dungeon filled with names of band players.
Oh, hell yeah. And their
um,
guild name is like why they got banned.
right,
Yeah.
because they did emote. Um,
Yeah,
Fenn
clown
just
emoji.
right. Fenn just one shot PA the server. Um, PA is the reason casters got a single hit BT.
Well,
Yeah.
then they made it bypass it, so
Yeah.
who, who knows?
So let's see. I don't think I missed any questions. I don't know. Chat went crazy when we were talking about all the NF. Titles, BG, Mordred. Okay, no. We're all up to date, I think, for right now.
Sweet. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess looking forward, expect some conquest changes pretty soon. I would expect bug fixes, constantly. We we've got I think 3 or 4 more in the pipeline between last night and this morning already. So like we're just constantly churning out bug fixes. I know there's quite a few bugs, but don't worry, everybody. We know it too. We're working on it. Yeah, I think those are the two big things. We're doing, stability is pretty good now. So while we are still working on optimizing everything, it's in a pretty good spot so we can devote more time to bug fix, tackling some of the big issues that we've uncovered with the server, such as people staying only in a main, not enough orbs in RVR, stuff like
Haze Fest said, thanks for doing this. Obviously, I think that goes for everybody, whether they chatted or not. um, we all appreciate the effort that the entire team has done. I'm if if you're ever in Wisconsin, let me know. I will take you out and buy you a drink for sure because you deserve it more than anyone. Um,
that. Thanks, bro. I'll take you up on some cheese too. I hear it's pretty good out
yes,
there.
obviously you can get some cheese curds. Sinith,
Hell yeah.
that comment will be deleted because quit talking about my pet. Um, we were out and I was on my minstrel and I grabbed one of the sacrificer pets and I was like chain killing red mobs. But
Oh, nerf incoming.
then he then he didn't get um then the mob turned to me and pretty much two shot me, so that doesn't work. Um,
Yeah, double
Discord
edged
is a
sword.
safe place for devs. Yes. Um, yes, we have cheese curds and all that. Definitely hook you up.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure to come on, and it's been fun just sort of talking about what we've done on Atlas. All of us are very much in love with Dark Age of Camelot, and it's 100% a passion project. So we're happy to do it, and we're happy all of you guys are choosing to join us playing it.
so the last going out question, real quick. Now that we got stability, and anyone who talks about, oh, that server doesn't have we can block that out. What's the next step? Are you guys gonna start working on making sure every class is not the same, but kind of developing more of that, or what's the next step now that we finally have the stability taken care of, which is
Yeah,
amazing,
I
by
mean,
the way. I freaking
yeah,
love, dude. There's nothing better than being logged in and not LDing all the. I mean, I get every once in a while that's fine, but you guys kicked ass and rocked it out, and we have a great server.
thanks. Yeah, no, it's a big relief to have it be more or less stable now because it was it was a few absolute nightmare weeks just trying to get through that development hell. But yeah, very glad it's stable now. As I mentioned, I think our new focus is getting more people into RVR in a place that's not just a main, and getting through the bug backlog. We're working on the really critical ones right now, quite a few housing issues that are preventing people from like paying rent correctly. I think most of those have been sorted now. There's like the starting stat issue, which we actually made some solid progress on today. So, there are some critical bugs out there. We're prioritizing those first, then getting through the rest of the backlog, and then tied into that, the conquest rework should be coming in like a week or two, hopefully. We've got the skin rework coming in the next couple days. I think that one's almost done, and basically just polishing what we've got before we add too much more, I'd say.
And the crafter helper will be out in the next week or so.
Well, yeah. So
Tomorrow? Is that what
expect
you said?
craft set may come back tomorrow. It may be in a couple days, but we should be reintroducing it in a patch very soon. Asterisk, it may be removed again if it causes problems again, just so everybody knows, but it will be coming back.
Perfect. I don't see any more questions, so we'll end this here in a second. Again, thank you and thank everybody who does everything to the server. I know some of us have been here since pretty much Phoenix ended, and we like it.
Hey, same.
The other ones that are coming out are kind of doing other things that some people don't want to do. TOA is one of them, obviously, and other people do. So, I mean, we have a good range of servers that will fit everyone's needs, I believe. And
Yeah, I mean, I think they're doing some really interesting stuff on the other free shards, and I'm really how it pans out. I think they're different enough from us that everybody will now have some choice as to where they want to go, and I think it's a good thing for the community at large. So, yeah, thank you for having me on.
and let's go out with this one. With the server, I've heard a few things here and there. Is the server going to be around no matter what? I've heard that you guys are going to keep it open even if there's like 6 people playing. Will this be a place me and Hayes and McCrell and a bunch of other people do not want to leave Atlas, even if we just have to fight each other?
Yeah, I mean that's the goal as far as I know. I don't think we plan to shut it down. Point. I've not heard any rumors saying we're going to shut it down at any point. I think even if we end up in the Uthgard state where we have a very dedicated player base participating, I think that'll be fine enough for us to keep doing what we're doing. Yeah, no plans for it to go away.
Right.
I will say actually, if it ever gets to the point where like server is quote unquote dead, we've got like double digit player base or whatever. We do plan to release our source code once the server is, quote unquote dead. Even though it's not being shut down at any point, it will eventually die, and at that point, release the source code so that other people don't have to keep recoding this goddamn code base.
You want to make it
It just,
easier for somebody else?
yeah, man. I mean, I, I'm still salty. Phoenix did not share their code with anybody. I get why they didn't because they're making their own game, but still, come on,
Right, we would have had
come on.
a lot less issues if that would have happened. But anyways, you guys have a excellent server. Um, I will not be. I may go check other places, but this is definitely my home, and I love all the work you guys do. And thank you very much for spending 3 hours with me. I didn't anticipate it was even going to be close to that. I thought an hour and we'll call it good, but the questions kept coming in, and more people kept coming in. So thank you for spending the time. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. Look forward to doing another one.
Yes, and we will time cap it next time. I promise.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you again for having me on. And I guess I will talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
No problem. Take care.
Yep, bye. All right, that's it. Thank you guys for coming. Um, I'm gonna stop this stream so I can post it up for anyone else who wants to listen to it. And then, yeah, I'm gonna go back to leveling. Thank you guys. I'm not gonna end it just yet. I'm gonna answer whatever is just brought up. But All right, I'll come visit your page so you can talk and I can rest my voice. Um, yes, we talked about everything today. Left axe, side stun, um, skulls. Yeah, I don't think we. I don't think there's anything we didn't talk about. Um, so yeah, in 3 hours, I'm pretty sure we hit just about everything. You're not going live tonight? Oh, hold on. Let's see if I can get him back. Hold on. No, I'm just kidding. Good question at the end. Dang it. I'll keep that for next time. All right, I'm going to restart the stream here in a little bit, just for leveling, or if anyone has any questions, if I remember the answers, I will help. I got to post this up. Be right back.